York Giants fans, or hello Vietnam. Boy, my hair is everywhere. My hair is everywhere today. I got the flyaways. I got this thing that's like coming out this side. That's a flyaway. I got my hair like. I mean, it's called I need to go to the barber before April 24th. Oh, we're gonna be at the draft. Let's go to the draft. We're going to be at the Giant draft party. We're going to go to the draft party. We're going to be there with some friends again. We're going to be there with a couple of subscribers. We're going to do all that fun stuff standing on the field. We'll call the draft for the third year in a row inside the Giant locker room. The Dominator, will be running the draft a live stream from Mission OBB Control UK edition. So that's always fun. Dom. We love Dom, but we know Dom will always screw it up. That's why we love Dom. We also need to talk about the venerable Shedeur Sanders. Good morning, Michael. Good morning, OG. Good morning, Davey. Danny Duds Ghost is in his house. Big Greg all the way from overseas. We got Vinny, the G, dropping in as well. So I'm trying not to put one and one together in reference to certain things, in reference to Shedeur Sanders. I'm not trying to put one and one together because I'm Ohio. I was born with the big old super chat in a crossfire hurricane. Or I should say I was born in an Ohio hurricane. Ohio, man, I miss you. I miss you. You've come back around. And I don't mean you've left the channel. I just mean you've probably been busy. But I miss your comments in the comment section on the videos. So I'm actually texting myself some stuff here about Shedeur Sanders because I was very unprofessional this morning. I was on time though. I'm going to send that to my number so it'll come to this computer. I was what's up, Trenton? All the way with that Philly fan. We got Mr. McCormick in his house. We got Michael in as well. But I was watching Shedeur Sanders pro day, and you could tell he had a little bit of the jitters, and I can understand having a little bit of the jitters. Good morning, Raquel Welch or Linda Carter. Who's prettier? I don't know. I don't remember Raquel Welch. I'm sorry. So, I'm not that old. But I was watching Shedeur Sanders pro day, and I was trying not to. The kid definitely had some jitters early on. Definitely had some jitters. And I don't want to say jitters, but he had a couple ducks early in the pro day. And then he was just vicious. And some of his throws were effortless. There's the one, I showed it on Twitter. It was the over-the-shoulder catch, 55 yards in the air, dropped in perfectly, in stride, touchdown in any fucking league. And I love it because you have a segment of Giant fans that saw that throw and said, yes, Trenton, we understand that. We've always talked about the fact that you better look good at your pro day. The only person I can remember had a bad pro day was Teddy Bridgewater, but he still wasn't a good NFL quarterback. But after seeing that throw, a certain segment of Giant fans said, and I quote, "You can't make that throw in MetLife. There was too much air." Listen, I've said it before. Dwayne Haskins was a lollipop thrower. And Dwayne Haskins, to me, if you watched his deep ball RIP at Ohio State, he had this large arching curve. It was very large. It was almost like he was thrown over the dome. This pass was not that. And then I love it because another Giant fan posted almost a minute something of the pro day and said he double pats the ball. Oh, no, you can't do that. The league is going to key off on that. Okay, and I went back and watched his minute 43. And then I've yet to see once him double pat the ball. I've seen him pat the ball. I love it. He pats the ball. We can't draft him. He pats it. Cam Ward pats the ball. No one said anything. There's this bum quarterback out of Michigan. Probably would have won 8 Super Bowls if he didn't pat the ball instead of 6. Named Tom Brady. Listen, if you don't like the kid just because he's Deion's kid, you don't like the kid just because you think he's arrogant, you don't like the kid just because you don't like the fucking kid, that's fine. But don't sit there and bash his game and point out things that aren't there. and then try to. And I love we had an idiot that came on early. He says, Donald, can't wait to hear Tim sugarcoat him patting the ball after ripping Daniel Jones for 6 years. Donald. And I love Donald just puts a comment and leaves. You're a fucking moron. And I say that from the bottom of my heart. What was I wrong about with Daniel Jones for 6 years? I told people, go back 6 years, because it'd be 6 years now, not 5 years, 6 years. Go back 6 years, the last video of Daniel Jones' rookie season. I got blasted for that video because of the fact that I pointed stuff out. And I told people, okay, so, and I told people, go back now and watch that video and please tell me what I got wrong. What was wrong in my assessment? Because everything that I said 6 years ago still stands today. So you have a, oh, I also love it. Another thing Giant fans did. Another thing Giant fans, they like to put it, he takes too many sacks. He took 52 sacks. He did. But can we go back with the understanding that he took 52 sacks in 2023 and only took 42 in 2024, and he went to a rebuilding program? So if you want to say he took 52 sacks, great. Context. He did that at his first season in Colorado. He didn't do it last year. He didn't do it last year. The kid's highest interception total was 10. His lowest completion percentage was 65.9. He has shown a progression on every single level that he has been at, from high school to Jackson State to Colorado. He's gotten better each time he's stepped up a level. And people say, well, the Jackson State numbers don't count because he played people like Acorn State, and he played all these Division II teams. You know, a lot of the teams that he played at Jackson State, watch this, are better than the mighty Furman and Northern Georgia. So if we could just put that in context as well. So if you want to nitpick this kid to death just because you don't like him, that's fine. But don't disparage his talent, which is obvious, because maybe you don't think he's going to be there at 3. So you have to convince yourself that he is going to be the better, that Jackson Dart is the better option, because this kid may not be available at 3. Let's be better than that. Can we try to be better than that? And I know the answer. The answer is no. The answer is no. The answer is no. We're not going to try. We're not going to try to be better than that. I've said it before, and I'm not trying to stoke the racial fires, but a lot of times this is what we rather have. I'm just being honest. I'm really beginning to think that with certain fan bases. This is what we rather have than go out and get a kid who could potentially show something special over and over again, but we are going to disparage his talent because of the fact that we don't like him, or we don't like his family lineage. That's what we look. That's honestly, that's what we're looking at. And again, take a look. The kid has progressed every level that he's been at. 65% in his freshman season in college. Even Division II or 2 or 3 opponents when throwing 30 touchdowns. It's incredible. Then he completes 70 and 40 the next year, steps up a level in Colorado on a bad rebuilding Colorado team, still goes 27 and 3 for almost 70%. And then the next year, he only throws 40 passes more, or 37 passes, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? He only throws 47 passes more. But somehow his pass per average, or his completion average, went to 8.7, and he goes from 27 to 37, took less sacks, because everyone likes to point out the sack total, but no one wants to talk about the 50 sacks were 2 years ago. If you want to hate the kid, hate the kid. You want to hate the kid for being good, do that. You want to say he doesn't have the arm talent, you're a fucking moron. I've never seen a kid that was so, and I love other people. Well, he wasn't a blue chip prospect coming out of college. He wasn't a blue chip guy. Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen. They were 4-star recruits. They weren't blue chip guys. There's a Joe Burrows. I mean, not Joe Burrows, but there's a lineage of guys that weren't blue chip guys coming out of college that made themselves into careers. The kid is from 15 to 35 yards. 15 to 35. I'm not talking a short pass. I'm talking intermediate passes. 15 to 35. The kid is fucking surgical. You complete 70% of your 74% of your passes in college in Division I. That's fucking surgical. And I love it because he pats the ball. Well, Tom Brady pats. Darius Slayton. I love that Darius Slayton, who I don't agree with the $36 million contract. Darius Slayton came out and said, and I quote, he can pat the ball and throw it to me. There's just, like I said, the Shedeur Sanders, and I love the morons, though. I love the morons. Well, Tim, and I'm not talking about the people in chat, but I'm talking to people on Twitter. They're like, well, Tim, you know what? Yeah, they look good against Aaron, the all shorts team and the Cones team. I had to hear the same shit about Daniel Jones for years. And I pointed out the same thing. Everyone looks good when there's no rush. You should look good at your pro day. I 100% admit that. You should look good at your pro day. You should show something special at your pro day. But you are dismissing everything that he has done. And I'm not looking just statistically. And I always say that you can't take, because when college is over, your statistics only go, you only go so far. Because I've said it a million times, once your college career is over, your statistics mean nothing. I am talking about his body of work. We've always talked about this. It's progression. He progressed from that the freshman year at Jackson State over to a better player his last season. This kid was a 4-year starter in college. And somehow we are going to dismiss him. He's not and you know what? He's not a running quarterback. He's not a guy, because people say, well, Jackson State, he had 103 carries for negative 17 yards. Yeah, because of the fact that he was running for his life at fucking Jackson State. This is a kid that's played under duress. This is a kid that's played under the big lights because of his father. This is a kid that went to a floundering Colorado program and helped turn it around in 2 years. And there's talk and speculation that Cleveland's going Travis Hunter. If Shedeur Sanders is sitting there at 3 and the New York Giants pass on him and take someone like Abdul Carter, I think I will have a fucking meltdown in the building. What's up, Hirsch, for real? I think I'll have a meltdown. Why? We have a new video coming out Monday, new short, and I call it The Dip. I put my hands up on your hip. When you dip, we dip, we dip. You dip, we dip. It's called The Dip. I call it the Abdul Carter Dip, because of the fact that if you watch Abdul Carter, he has this little dip motion that he uses, and he uses it against every opponent. There is no, I have all the clips. I don't know if I can play the clips. I have all the clips in one file here because I had to go through a lot of different clips. But I found most of his sacks, and it's the same move. It's the same fucking move over and over again. It's a little shoulder dip to get around slower opponents. And I'm watching this, and I'm trying to find the file. Hold on. Apple updated my computer. Everything's screwed up. I'm still using the new computer. I call it The Dip, and I don't have the file's not here, because what happened is I don't think the file downloaded. Well, I'm looking for the file. Now I'm looking for the file. I don't see the file. If I had the file, then I would show. Wait, maybe I do have the file. Hold on. If I had the file, I would show it all. I would show The Dip. And I don't have, let me say, everyone just give me a minute. I'm looking for a fucking file here. Was it Untitled 1? Did I leave it as? I don't think I called it Untitled 1, did I? No, it's not Untitled 1. All right, well, I got I'm cutting the short for tomorrow. And like I said, I refer to it as The Dip. Like I said, you hate Shedeur Sanders for being Deion's kid. Hate the kid for being arrogant. Hate the kid for, I don't know, because you don't like his hair. But don't hate the kid because of his talent, because he is immensely talented. And that's what Giant fans need to look at. You sat, and I love the people that again are still defending Daniel Jones. You sat there 6 seasons of this because maybe that's what you like, but you don't want to go and you don't want to go anywhere else with it. All right, let's get to some of the people in the chat. We already said good morning to Mr. McCormick. We already said good morning, Ohio Hurricane. Good morning, Trenton. Good morning, Michael. What's up, Tim? Good morning, Trenton again. What's up, Tim? Who should the Eagles pick at 32? Whoever Howie wants. Good morning, sir. And what's up, Joe? What's up, Danny? Davey says good. We already got the Raquel Welsh one. Let's see. Your trend says everyone looks good. Throwing against air. And just ask Teddy Bridgewater. He might have a different opinion on that. Greg said, I'm not a pro scout and won't pretend to be one, but Cam and Sanders aren't far apart, as people claim. It's just as Sanders affects that's dropping his stuff. That's the other thing. Cam Ward pats the ball. I watched him pat the ball. And Cam Ward had immense talent, or more talent, in Miami than Shedeur had in Colorado. I agree. And I even said it, if Shedeur Sanders went first overall, I don't think it'll happen, but if he went first overall, I wouldn't be shocked. The talent is there. He is bulked up, and I love it because Cam Ward's thinned and Shedeur is bulked. I'm still trying to find out how. You know what I think I need to do? I think I need to go and go to my cloud and activate the cloud to download. Oh wait, what is this right here? Wait a minute. No, that's just Shedeur Sanders throw. I think I need to reactivate the cloud on this computer. I think that's why I don't have my file. But we'll have the dip out tomorrow. But I like I said before, if he went second overall, or I should say first overall, Shedeur Sanders, I wouldn't be shocked. I wouldn't sit there and tell you, oh my God, I can't believe Shedeur Sanders went first overall. I think he's going to be that good. I didn't even think he was going to be that good, to be honest. And I went back, and sometimes it was hard to find film. I went back and watched it at Jackson State. The kid has progressed every level. So there would be no thought process that he wouldn't step up to the next level in the pros. It's my Pizza Planet cup. It's my son's. Davey says, whoopsie, I don't think we get Sanders. I doubt Cleveland is going to. Well, there's already talk that Cleveland's going to go Travis Hunter. Max, what's up? What's up, Mark? Big salute, Tim. Trent says Giants should traded for Stafford or drafted a quarterback a year ago. Yeah, no shit. Eagle fan gets it. Why don't we get it? We tried to give $96 million to Matthew Stafford and trade for him. We need a quarterback. It's all facts. Get him, Tim. I agree. Good morning, Joseph. Good morning, Tim. And let's get Shedeur. When the season first rolled around, I was not sitting there on the Shedeur train. Everyone that watches the show knows that. I'm not that I wasn't a Shedeur fan. I just like Cam Ward. Actually, I like Carson Beck to start the season. Then Carson Beck just kind of fell off the fucking planet when competition got stiff. And Shedeur stepped it up in my brain. And like I said, I went back and watched a couple games. Jackson State games are harder to find than Colorado games, but I watched like 3-4 games his first year, 3-4 games his second year at Jackson State, and I watched the progression into his first season at I remember in Colorado, his first season there. I was sitting in a Fridays. I think it was Fridays. So Fridays or Ruby Tuesdays. I don't remember. And I was with the family, and the Colorado game was on. And I remember watching the game, and I remember watching Shedeur. This was, like I said, this was his first year at Colorado. And, you always, you have the hype for Deion's kid. And I will be perfectly honest. I will be 100% honest. When I watched the game, I was like, well, he's not that great. And honestly, I kept thinking about it. And I kept thinking about it. It just seemed to me that he was just not a good kid. It was the Stanford game because it was a double. I think it was a double overtime game. And I was like, he's not that good. And remember, I'm watching it. I got the family. I was drinking, got things going on. And it wasn't until I got home that I looked at this loss against Stanford, and the kid went 33 for 47 for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. And I was thinking, maybe I just hated him because he's Deion's kid. Maybe there was something. Maybe in my own mind there was something to that. That's why I was hating him, because I watched the game and I'm like, this kid ain't nothing. Double overtime, he loses to Stanford, and then I get home, find out he threw for 400 yards and 5 touchdowns. Denny says they rolled the dice for Cam Ward and they failed. I agree. Greg says they say he has no arm. Did you see Shedeur's game-winning rollout reaction? His body throwing a strike 45 yards. That's the other thing. He doesn't have the arm strength. I watched Shedeur. Now listen, he's not Joe Milton, but I watched Shedeur Sanders in Colorado and in his pro day with no effort throw the ball 45, 50 yards in the air. Jackson Dart, and I've said it before, contorts his body like a like a javelin thrower to get air under his ball, and I love it. And the fact that Kurt Warner still says he throws the ball flat. But Shedeur Sanders doesn't. Shedeur Sanders' arm strength was never in question 4 years in college. Now all of a sudden, when Giant fans, not you, Greg, he doesn't have the arm strength. I don't know why there's so many quarterbacks and head coaches in the chat. Yeah, they are. Because you are a jerk. You're a jerk and a fucking asshole. And now he's what we refer to as gone. Good morning, Philosophy Stoner. Good morning, Tim. Looks like Shedeur's gets so many sacks because they have no run game and no O-line was bad. Shedeur Sanders went to a rebuilding program with his father to Colorado. And they did, and like I said, I don't like All right, we're back. Sorry about that. I hit the wrong cable, but we're back. Danny, let's see here. Shedeur, he took so many. You're right. He took so many sacks because of the fact that he had no running game. Oh, Danny, I hit the wrong fucking button. I hit the. Am I still back online? Hold on. I gotta see. Hold on. I love the new computer. Just everything. I still haven't got it all. I still haven't got the new computer figured out. Craig Morton or Daniel Jones, who is better? That's like what's better, garbage or trash? And I'm going to go with neither. Trent says the Giants should draft at least one quarterback this year just for development's sake. Agree 100%. Trent also says Wilson also buys you 2 more years tops. You're probably right. We got Greg definitely says the Mayo car, Tim, the Mayo car, Tim. They want a shucking and driving black guy, not in Sanders' DNA. Like I said, I can't tell you if that's what it was. I can't tell you what it is. But like I said, I just find it so upsetting that certain Giant fans are picking on this kid unmercilessly. And I laugh because, like I said, I'm trying to think. Because again, you had 6 years. You had 6 years of this, but we don't want to go to sriracha sauce. We want to have this again. Let's go get Jackson Dart. Because he's cutting edge, because his name has an X in it. But I love it because people dismiss what Shedeur did at Jackson State, but they don't forget about what Jackson Dart against Furman in Northern Georgia. Trent says, one thing I will say about the Eagles is we started more games with just one black quarterback than any other franchise. Just an interesting stat. Yeah. Going back to Randall Cunningham. Going back to Donovan McNabb. Now Jalen Hurts. Yeah, you're right. Danny does it. Sims pulled up the Daniel Jones college stats. That's Gobbler never got better in college than on the pros. That's the other thing I don't get. Daniel Jones physically and statistically never got better at Duke. You look at Shedeur's stats. You look at what he has done throughout his entire career. It's not just a microcosm of a season. He's shown a progression from Jackson State as a freshman to a season starter in 2024 at Colorado, where we've said it before, with 47 more receptions, he threw for almost 1,000 yards more than his first season on a bad Colorado team that was rebuilding. But Giant fans want to knock him because of the fact that he pats the ball. That's why on this cover it's Tom Brady, because Tom Brady's fucking laughing. I pat the ball all the fucking time. Did you see the tuck rule? But like I said, Tom Brady, that fucking bum, would have probably won 8 Super Bowls instead of 6 if he didn't pat the ball. What a douchebag. Cam Ward does the same thing. But hey, we don't want to talk about that, because we know we're not getting Cam Ward. Eagles, best quarterback over both black guys, Hurts and McNabb. I don't know. You probably never saw Randall Cunningham play in his prime. I saw Randall Cunningham. I would probably go, if you were going to go statistically, best quarterbacks in black quarterbacks in Eagle history, I got to go Randall Cunningham, Donovan McNabb, and then Jalen Hurts, even though Jalen Hurts has a Super Bowl. Vinny G says, you can't be the bad at quarterback with that kind of act. Fucking surgical. Surgical. From 15 to 35 yards, I would put this kid probably now, before he even comes into the league, in the top 15 in quarterbacks in reference to throwing the ball 15 to 35 yards. Randall Cunningham, you got to remember Randall Cunningham, man. Randall was something special coming out of UNLV. Charles Murphy says the only problem is Slayton with the ball. He'll drop it. Can we talk about that for a second? Can we talk about that for just a second? For 3 seasons with Daniel Jones, I had to hear that one of the biggest problems Daniel Jones had, outside the lack of ability, was that his receivers always dropped the ball. So, taking that in mind, the Giants, instead of letting this guy walk, gave him $36 million over 3. Are all of a sudden those drops are going to go away? Slayton has been known to drop. G-Man says he has surgical with a bad offensive line. Imagine if he has blocking, just more mobility. Joe Burrows. That's a great way to put it. But the kid, like I said, watch the tape. Don't look at a statistic. Just don't look at the 74 or 74%, whatever it is, completion percentage. Watch the tape. Under a bad offensive line, under duress. And again, for the 200 people that are now watching, yes, he was sacked 52 times. But put it in fucking context, because that was in 2023. He was only sacked 42 times in 2024. I'm sick of hearing that stat. I am tired of hearing that stat, because it's wrong. Breaking news is Joe Shane just told Shedeur Sanders he can't beat out Tommy DeVito. We know that's the truth. Douglas says, what's up, Tim? We better draft Sanders. Hope we are, because I'm going to be there in the building at MetLife on draft night. I'm going to be standing in the locker room once again, watching the Giants disappoint us. Hello, Hirsch for real. What's up? Trent, Nick Foles, and Carson were the outliners for the Eagles. They were. And Carson Wentz was at one time considered a Pro Bowl, or even heading towards a league MVP until he got hurt. Doubt it, but the Browns don't get Cousins. They're getting Sanders for sure. I don't know. I think Cleveland is thinking the philosophy that they are so far away that they could literally use a dual talent player like Travis Hunter. I don't know yet. I love Abdul Carter if they pass on. No Abdul Carter. No dip. I put my hand up on your hip. When you dip, we dip, we dip. No dip. Tomorrow, I'll work. I promise I will finish it tonight. There is a short. It is called the Abdul Carter Dip. And I want everyone to watch it. This is your homework assignment, kiddies. I want everyone to watch it. Then I want you to come back and tell me what you see. I'm not going to say anything in the video. I'm just going to show the dip. Danny says, don't forget the Texas Legends, Kevin Cobb, whatever. Yeah, Kevin Cobb. Real men use PCs. Yeah. I don't like PCs. I hate PCs. Tim, what's up? Tim says, Tim, well, should the Giants pass on Shedeur Sanders and they select Travis Hunter third overall from Colorado instead? If Shedeur Sanders is there and you pass over him for Travis Hunter, I will have an embolism. I will literally have a fucking embolism. This is not going to be a issue where he's going to drop. There's certain quarterbacks, Aaron Rodgers comes to mind, that drop serendipitously in the draft. The Brady Quinn always comes to mind because Brady Quinn went to Cleveland and he dropped in the draft because Brady Quinn also, people forget, made some racist statements before the draft. So he did drop a little because of that. I will fucking have an embolism. If you pass on a franchise quarterback for a guy in Travis Hunter, and I think Travis Hunter has talent, but you just gave a Debo, you just gave a Debo 54, 30 something guaranteed. 2 years ago, you drafted Banks. Last year, you drafted Drew Phillips, and you still have Cordell Flott. So if you take Sanders, you put him as a DB, you're telling me the Banks and Flott probably were mistakes. You put him over the wide receiver position. Well, you just gave Darius Slayton 36. You still have Neighbors. You still have Wan'Dale Robinson. So you're going to then bump Slayton to the third spot, even though you're paying him second slot money to put Sanders either in the second slot, but then you might bump Wan'Dale Robinson out of the rotation because he's too small to play on the outside, and then put Travis Hunter in the slot. And then you have to remember, Malik Neighbors is not what they would refer to as quiet when he's not getting his touches. So you are then going to take away from the guy you just drafted last year. You're going to take away some of his touches, some of his attempts. Good luck with that. What's up, Brandon? Tim said, Tim, also, we've kicked the can down the street, and it comes to quarterbacks. You should have taken one last year. Now, this year, we may do it again. Trying to win depends on times. Doesn't work better. Take Sanders. You take Sanders. You're right, Brandon. You take Sanders because of the fact that we've kicked the can down the road for 6 fucking years. I'll benefit of the doubt. 4 years. And the moment the ink dried on that Dan Jones contract, go watch my video. I said, this will set the Giants back 5 years. And this was my rationale. If he flames out his first season, I knew they were going to give him season 2. So that's already 2 years. If he flamed out season 2, you thought you were going to draft a quarterback in season 3 of the contract. But the problem is we're not drafting a quarterback now until season 4. So now you got to hope the quarterback maturates and matures. So that's another 2 years. So technically we're probably 6 years down. It would have been 6 years from the signing of that contract in 2023. I've said it before. We'd probably be good maybe be good 2028. If the way we're drafting. But then again, like I said, how can you get Abdul Carter? Because you don't have any fucking outside linebackers, and he's almost identical to the talent of Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. Doesn't make any fucking sense. So then if you draft Abdul Carter, you're going to give 20-something if you pick up the option on Kayvon, which you're probably going to because you're not taking up the Neal option, so you don't want to make it look like a mistake. So you'll have $36 million plus tied up into the Burns and Thibodeau, another $20 million to Dexter Lawrence. So you got $56 million tied up, and then another $4 million for your rookie. So you'll have $60 million tied up into your defensive line in 2026. That's fucking insanity. And neither one of the two guys that you have in Burns and Thibodeau are pass rushing specialists that are game changers. There's no Jason Taylor here. There's no Peppers. There's not even an Osa Umenyiora. There is not a guy. Out of those two guys, no one's there is changing the complexion of a game. I always go back to the NFL Network. They said good compensation. Same thing I said. Good compensation trade for the Giants, but you paid $120 million for an 8-sack guy. And I said it before. I was wrong. People say you never admit you were wrong. I was wrong. He was an 8.5-sack guy. We talked about it. What was going to happen with both Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns disappeared in the same game because they have that modus operandi in most of the games they play in their entire career. Problem was, I didn't think it was going to be fucking week 1 against the Vikings, and they didn't really do anything until like week 4. This team is maddening. Tyler Warren, good tight end. You're going to get rid of what's his name I keep hearing. But then I also hear that he may go after Kyle Pitts. But Tim Sanders taps the ball. That means he's just bad. He's just bad. Fucking Tom Brady, man. Fucking Tom Brady tapped the ball, too. What a fucking loser that guy is. He only won 6 Super Bowls. Could have won 8. He didn't tap the ball. Sometimes our fan base just makes me want to cry. This makes me want to fucking cry. Jalen Hurts is literally an ambassador for the Jordan brand. If it's not cool, I don't know what is. Well, I like Jalen Hurts a lot. I said for years, after Jalen Hurts' rookie season, I said Jalen Hurts was a better quarterback than Daniel Jones. I said it on Bad Dog Show, and I had to hear how I was wrong. But let's see here though. A patter. He's a patter. That fucking Tom Brady pats the ball too. But that's all right. Tom Brady is just as much as a bum as, you know what, my dip video has got to be here because there's a Tom Brady load. Oh, see, now I got to move some of these windows. I got too many windows open. Maybe that's it. Or I called it some, you know what I probably did? I probably called the file something that is just so not what it's supposed to be. Oh, wait, right here. I think it's right. Ah, here we go. It's called the tap. I think I found the video files. Hold on. Let's see if I can upload one of these movies. Let's see if I can upload one of these movies here. Let's see. Here we go. Let's see here. Here we go. Oh, there we go. All right. I got it. Okay. I'm going to give you guys a preview. I think I can upload a movie into the thing. I'm going to give you guys a preview of why we don't want that we talk about why we don't want certain people. I'm going to give you guys a preview though why we don't want Abdul Carter. Now I can't get the fucking file out of the video. Oh no, it goes. Here we go. I think I can upload this film. I think there's a way to upload this movie. Hold on. And it's the same move over and over again. And I have 7 different examples on sacks in reference to Abdul Carter. Now, listen, I am not saying, oh, right here. Oh, I could do it. I think I could do it. No, I can't because it's telling me I can't. Why is it telling me now I can't? I should be able to upload this because it's the wrong video format. What the fuck? It's the wrong video format. Well, what the hell is the right video format? Can I save it as something else? Hold on. Let me see if I can't save the Abdul. Let me see if I can't. All right, I can't save it. All right, you know what I can do? I can. This is why I wish I had a co-host. If I had a co-host, I'd be like, oh, okay, look at me. I got a co-host. I can do all this fun stuff. Because a lot of times I try to do this stuff in the back. All right, we're going to open up Final Cut Pro here. And I'm going to put the video in here. Update. Now I got to update the fucking library. Oh, my God. I thought this was going to be easy. All right, here we go. Open. No, wait. We'll just go to new. Here we go. Wait a minute. Now we're going to get this done. Everyone just hold on a minute. We don't need to do it in 4K. I love it because this is what I do behind the scenes, people. This is what I do behind the scenes. This will be easy. Here we go. Okay, then we're going to go here and we're going to share it. And we're going to share it on social media platforms. Must complete the task first. Okay, we're going to share it on, we're going to go share social media platforms. We're going to call it Untitled Project 1 because I'm lazy and I don't really feel like titling it anything. We're not going to put in the documents. We're going to put it on the desktop. We're going to hit save. And then we're going to save it. Oh, it already saved. Okay, here we go. All right, now we're getting there. Just hang on. Everyone just hang on. I love how people that are new to the show. No, it's still saying I can't play it. Why is it telling me I can't play it? I don't know why it's telling me I can't play it. I could do the thing where I do the, how about if I put it in here? Can I put it in here? No, it's still saying I can't. For some reason, it's still saying I can't play it. I don't know. This StreamYard is not allowing me to play this. What if I share it as something else? What if I share it as an Apple? What if I just export the file as a default? How about that? Let's just export file as a default. There we go. We'll save that to the cloud. Title unproject. I'm trying to get the dip here. I mean, I literally could just share the screen. I guess I could. I don't know. For some reason, StreamYard's not letting me load the file. I don't know. Oh, wait. Maybe. Oh, because I don't have enough space. So I don't have enough space. Okay, we'll delete that. Saying I don't have enough space.
That motherfucker must have lost his goddamn mind.
That's right, StreamYard. You must have lost your damn mind. All right, we'll do the dip later. We'll figure out I'll figure out how to load the dip file later because I don't know what's going on here. Let's see. I want to know what love is. I gotta get back to the checks. I lost my place in the chat. Muted my guy James Williams in his house. All right, we'll go. Danny goes to Dan Sanders is 7.7 year every year in college, which is something Danny Dinks never achieved. You're right. And we said it before. Shedeur Sanders got better every year at college. Every year in college, he got better. So why? I mean, you literally watched him get better. So it's like, why so much hate? And that's what I don't get. I mean, like I said, you can hate him because he's Deion's kid. You can hate him for whatever reason you want to hate him, but you can't hate the kid for talent because that's what he has. He has unmitigated talent. And I don't know, like I said, I don't know what else to say in reference to this. I really don't. I wish I could figure it out. I keep talking about it over and over again. Maybe there's some other hidden reason why Giant fans don't want him. But if you really pass up on, I got it. Here we go. Okay, here we go. We got it. See, I had to work on this a little bit. We call the reason why I don't want Shedeur, reason why I do not want Abdul Carter. We are processing the video right now. Stay tuned for the short tomorrow. And it's called the Abdul Carter dip. If you go back and I went back and watched almost all of his sacks, and I think I pulled out 7 clips. Here you go. Here you go. Watch. Zoom. Little dip around. Not even a swim move. Not even a swim move. What he does is watch. Little shoulder right underneath and right over the guy. That's what he does on almost every. We're going to watch it one more time. Here you go. Here you go. Watch. Little dip right around. And you go. Didn't get the quarterback on that play. That's what Abdul Carter does. Now, when Abdul Carter hurt his shoulder before the bowl game, he had 1 sack, but he was not effective. Why? Because the offensive tackle figured out he can't dip his shoulder. I'm just going to put him in the dirt. Speed only gets you so far in college and the pros. Abdul Carter, average off-the-ball linebacker his first 2 seasons at Penn State. They used the speed against slower opponents, slower tackles, which works. I got 7 other examples of this, of the same fucking move. The same move. And like I said, we call it the Abdul Carter dip. And if you watch it over and over repeatedly, it's funny, though, because you continue to watch it and you're like, it's literally the same move that he just does over and over again. There's no pass rushing forte to it. Here, you know what? Because I like you guys, I figured out how to do this now. I go to high efficiency file. I go here. I go to project 1. I hit save. Yes, we'll replace that one. I'm going to show you another video. I love this. You're dropping. That's fine. I'm going to show you another video. Hold on. I got to wait till the file comes up. I think this is the same video. Hold on. Here we go. All right. You ready now? We're going to show you another clip. First of all, I got to delete this clip. Delete this clip right here. I'm going to delete that clip. And we're going to add another video. All right. Everyone just wait. Because everyone's waiting so patiently. Okay. I'm going to call this the Abdul Carter dip version 2. Or if you ever watched the movie Hot Shots, it would be do. All right, here you go again. You ready? Here you go. Watch this. Up. It's the same thing. Watch it again. Here we go. Ready? Here we go. Up. And here we go. Watch this. Wait, here we go. Wait, this is working here. Here we go. Watch this. Up. It's the same move over and over again. So people think that Abdul Carter is going to be Parsons. They think he's going to be Parsons. He's not. He's not a linebacker. He's a guy that uses the same move against slower opponents to get around guys. And then when his shoulder got hurt, what happened? We know what happened. He was ineffective. This is like my dad trying to figure out how to send me a YouTube video. Boomer Tech. First of all, I laugh. Ask me. I'm Gen X. And you have to remember this: when you're Gen X, you don't care if it doesn't work. I was just to the point then where I had to make it work. T Brad says, make sure you hit that like button. I don't even know how many likes that we have. We have over 109 people right now, T Brad. We're up to 111 people on that, T Brad. I don't know how many likes we have. We only have 31. So, T Brad, hit that damn like button. MP4. Yeah, I actually did have to put in an MP4. Thank you, Danny. I should have actually strolled down because Danny would have figured it out for me. But that's the dip. That is the Abdul Carter dip. Does anyone want to say it again? This is why I don't want Abdul Carter. Because a quality, like an Andrew Thomas, a quality left or right tackle is just not going to allow him to dip his shoulder. They're going to go underneath and just push him to the sideline, aka like they do to Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau. So you're going to spend the 3rd overall pick on a guy who relies on speed, who couldn't do his pro day because of a sore shoulder, and who's still nursing a potential foot injury. That's the guy people want to take at 3. Even if Shedeur Sanders is there. OG Knockout says, what does he says? They should draft Sanders at 3 and draft Sanders and draft 3 offensive linemen to help him out in the passing game. You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong. Todd says, please, piss off the wide receiver that never wanted to come here, giving him threats to a gadget player. What could go wrong? I love that. That's the thing with Travis. And like I said, I think Travis Hunter is a good, talented player. I don't think he's an Isaiah Simmons, but I also don't think he's a Champ Bailey or a Charles Woodson. I think he's a good player. He's going to have to pick a side of the ball. And for the Giants as a fit, it doesn't make sense. You drafted 2 corners in 2 years. You still have Cordell Flott. You went out and gave Paulson Adebo $54 million, 36 guaranteed. So you got 4 corners already, and you're going to bring. And I think his best position, Travis Hunter, is going to be a corner. Or you're going to take him, put him on the other side of the line, and take away take away targets from your wide receiver. To Todd's point, didn't want to come here anyways, and now is going to get less opportunities to catch the ball. And we saw what happens when he wasn't targeted, that he's not the quietest guy in the room. Tommy Cutlets gets no respect. Davey says, if I teleport to Randall Cunningham and put him in the current New York Giants team, he would be a playoff team. The guy won without an offensive line. I forget why we're talking about Randall Cunningham, but okay. Danny Dead says, Shane recently said quarterback is the most important position. Then what the hell was he doing for the past 3 off seasons rolling with Daniel Jones unchallenged? Joe Reb says he wouldn't be good if Shane is calling the shots. He'll be good 4 years after Shane is gone. Listen, Daniel Jones is not going to excel in Indianapolis. Indianapolis is a perfect landing spot for Daniel Jones because of the fact that you're in a dome and you're away from all the media. So he'll be hyped up on Sports Center. Show the jar of mayo again for me, please. Rachel can see it. Rachel wants to see what certain Giant fans want at quarterback, and I'm going to do that just for you, James. There you go. There you go. This is what, and I'm just being honest. Just being honest, this is what some Giant fans want as their quarterback, which is fine because of the fact that if you are some people have so much blind hatred against Shedeur Sanders that this is what I got to think. I'm sorry. This is what I got to think. Strider said, Tim, remember when Joe Shane was looking at Tennessee quarterback Joe Milton? I thought it was a goodbye DJ. Oh, wait, he didn't get him. Damn it. Darn it. Joe Milton goes to Dallas for a 5th rounder. And Dallas also gets a 7th. Was Joe Shane, and that is a deal, because I believe we have an extra 5th rounder, don't we? That's a deal that Joe Shane should make. But again, we're asleep at the switch because we are too busy bringing in backup players for our backup players. OG says, I still can't believe they passed on a quarterback last year. This was just pure dumb of an organization. I don't see how Joe Shane could fix this off in one draft. Last year was the year of Daniel. Still my favorite line. Let me see here. Chicago's driving up the price and the Eagles are out. Oh, dear Lord. But Hunter, I can't pass up on. He ends up in New England. You can pass up on someone that doesn't fit. Sometimes, okay. I always hear this. And I always hear this now with Giant fans. because they don't want Shedeur Sanders. Best player available. That's what I always hear. Best player. Giants should go with best player available. Does that, okay, first of all, best player available works if you are a playoff team or a really good team. Best player available on the 31st or the 30th ranked roster in the NFL works only if you don't have quality players at the same position. Already, if you have not dumped large amounts of money into the same position. T-Brad says, after debating on Facebook, I realized I don't know much about football, so I think we should just trade back, grab some more picks, draft offensive linemen for the first and second and third rounds. I know, T-Brad. I'm a moron, too. Anthony says, I don't think Dable will make sure we draft. I don't think Dable will make sure we draft Sanders. Dable will possible last drafts with us, and he doesn't draft this guy. What's the whole reason you brought in Dable? To cultivate a quarterback. And I love it because Dable leaves Buffalo. Josh Allen got better. Josh Allen won an MVP when he left one. He wins his first MVP when Dable leaves Buffalo. I mean, is there lunacy tied to that? I mean, there literally has to be. Someone sent me a great post, and I don't think I can find it. It's all the quarterbacks that Brian Dable mentored that weren't like high quality professional quarterbacks right now. And it was the quarterbacks in the pro, and it's amazing the list of failures. But we only associate Brian Dable and Zach Attack. I think sent it to me, but Zach, if you're in the house, did you send me that file that had the what you call it? I love when Zach sends me things from people that do. Oh, here it is. If you go back to Brian Dable's career in reference to his offensive play calling when he called the plays in different areas, that was not associated with Josh Allen. He was ranked 29th in the league in points for the Browns in 2009. In 2010, he was 31st in the league in points. 2011 in Miami, he was 20th. 2021 in Kansas City, he was 32nd. 2 years with the Giants, he was 30th. And last year with the Giants, he was 31st. Yes, and I did say that. Zach says, didn't you say that years ago? Because other people like to take credit for shit I've said years ago. But that's okay. That's all right. But yeah, I did say that. But that you have to take a look at that. Let's see here. What big dog status says, imagine if Jackson Dart was mentored by Tom Brady. These fans would be gushing all over him. Oh, my God. There you are. And I watched Jackson Dart's pro day. He had a very good pro day. But if I look at the body of the entirety of the work and the progression, and not just a singular day, you got to go Shedeur Sanders. But you're right. OG says, honestly, I think Sanders can do some of the same things Jalen Hurts can do. Jalen is a smart quarterback. He doesn't wow with his arm, but he's all around game. That I agree. But Jalen Hurts to me is the perfect fit in Philadelphia. I don't know if Sanders is a perfect fit under this regime, but I don't think this regime's going to be around. So I do think it. But T-Brad says, salute to Black Ice. Of course, of course we have to give our condolences to the Val Kilmer family because of the fact that he did pass away. He lost his bout with cancer. And we were just discussing our call signs, our call names over if we were Top Gun characters like 3 streams ago. So that's sort of that. Danny says, let's go, Tim. MP4. I already got the MP4. We already got the 97 people watching. Top Gun crew is here, baby. Strider is also Slider. Let's see here. Michael says, Sanders can be a franchise quarterback. He can. He is literally a franchise quarterback. He got in trouble. Shedeur did. Couple weeks back at the combine because he said that he can turn an organization around. He's done it. He said it. He said, I am the kind of guy that can turn a bad situation around. He did it at Jackson State and he did it at Colorado. So is he wrong? No. James and Greg, what's up? It's not Boomer. I'm like I said, I'm sorry. I'm Gen X. Let's go, Boomer. Learn how to work your computer. Oh, Todd. First of all, I'm not even gonna get into any problems I'm having with this computer right now. Leslie says, Tim, I hope all is well. I believe the Giants should trade up to number 2 with the Browns, give up the third pick of last year, third round pick, and maybe a future fourth to get the second overall. Thoughts? If you are in love with Shedeur Sanders and you know Cleveland wants Travis Hunter, why not? I would swap picks. I would probably give up a fifth this year, another future pick next year, because you're only going up one spot. And we already know Joe Shane likes to trade up one spot. We saw that 2 years ago. But yeah, I mean, if there no panelists today to keep things going when you need to do the quick side missions. People forget, and I laugh because a lot of this shit I do on the fly, and there's no preparation. I was late coming down to the basement again. I was late going into my office again. There's no preparation. By the time I turn on the studio lights and get the camera on and everything else, it's like 2 minutes to go. So a lot of the stuff that I do, and I was talking to James about it a couple of weeks ago, I'm doing while I'm talking. And I laughed though because I do like having a guest on, because when I'm trying to create something, it's a lot easier because while that person is talking, I'm able to do something. It was like the one day that we were talking to James, and James was telling me, it's like having a pink elephant, in the building. So all of a sudden, and James was like, "Whoa, it's amazing that you got that pink elephant. You just had it right." I'm like, "No, when you were talking about pink elephants, I'm cut and pasted off websites." Just another day. One day I'll be professional. What's up? R0B is also in his house. We got Big Dog status. They think Carter's gonna be Parsons when he's not. Gonna show it again. This is the last time I'm gonna show it for people. Parsons was a linebacker / pass rusher who had a repartee of moves. He had a plethora of moves. Abdul Carter has the dip. Again, watch. Here we go. We just dip our shoulder down and we go around slower offensive linemen. You go back again. What do? You dip your shoulder around. You go by slower offensive linemen. That's what he does. That's what he's known for in college. But everyone's, he's fast. You see how fast he is? He's so fast. Yeah, but you are not going to be able to do that against quality tackles. All they're going to do is when you try to dip, they're going to come out of their stance. They're going to take this hand, put it underneath, and push. That's what they did in the last bowl game when he hurt his shoulder after that one sack. The offensive line coach figured out, you know what? That's it. And he was ineffective the entire game after that one sack. I wish I was smart once. T-Brad says, we are not taking Sanders. People just settle the fact to avoid frustration. What's up, Kobe? How you doing this morning? Cody? What's going on this morning? Stanley says, Tim, NFL scouts projecting Sanders to slip past the second round is mind-boggling. Sanders is the best quarterback prospect in the draft. 4 years ago, 3 years ago, he was the best quarterback prospect ever. All of a sudden now, he doesn't fit the mold. He pats the ball. Oh, dear Lord, he pats the ball. There is no quarterback in this league who can ever effectively do anything when patting the ball. It is a known fact. Even though Cam Ward pats the ball, but there is no quarterback in NFL history who could win in this league patting the ball. I can't think of one. I can't think of one single quarterback who ever patted the ball in the history in this league that ever won a Super Bowl. Trying to think. Nope. I can't think of any. Sorry, can't think of one. What are we talking about today? We're talking about everything. Facts. The Giants are going to draft Jackson Dart. You know they are. O-line will slant. And that's the other thing. The O-line is going to take Abdul Carter. And I hate to say it, it's the old term that I used when I was playing. It's a very venerable term. They are just going to knock his dick in the dirt. That's all they're going to do. He's going to try to go around there going, that's all you got to do. Because, like I said, I have 7 other clips of his sacks, and it's the exact same motion. It's not difficult to figure out. If I could figure out 4 years ago in that Cleveland practice last season of Joe Judge how every single team was going to attack the Giants, and I called it in the preseason game, and it's still been the same thing ever. You go off tackle left, off tackle right, up the middle, over the top. And that's how teams beat the Giants every year now, because they still haven't figured out that if your edges cannot maintain their gaps and their assignments, you are going to have issues. And you went out and got Blake Martinez, good middle linebacker. Abdul Carter, off the ball, middle linebacker. But the problem is you don't have any guys on the edge with your ends who understand the assignments of maintaining their position in the run when the defensive end should be pushing the plays into the center of the field against our strength. But no, teams just run off tackle because neither Brian Burns and Tavon Thibodeau can play the run. They over pursue. They don't understand how to hold their assignments. They go right past them every time. I use the big win against Indianapolis as a great example. Give me your draft night reaction if we take Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter. What would surprise you at 3? You know what surprised me at 3? If we took Shedeur Sanders. We need Hunter because Banks sucks. But that's the thing. If Banks sucks, then you're telling me your first round from 2 years ago was a bust. You take Abdul Carter, you're telling me your first round draft choice 3 years ago and Evan Neal were a bust. You cannot keep redundantly drafting positions you've already drafted or signed free agents for. What do we got here? Cody Banks doesn't suck. We have seen him putting in his work in the offseason. It's a scheme. Banks doesn't suck. He's right. Kobe's right. Cody's right. Sorry. He doesn't suck. He doesn't fit the Shane Bowen system. He's a press cover corner. He's a man-to-man guy. Sort of like the guy you just gave $54 million to as a man cover guy. Sort of like Travis Hunter's a man-to-man press cover corner. None of these guys fit the Shane Bowen system. Banks' year was terrible because he did dog at some plays, lack of effort, but it was also poor safety play in reference to Pinnock, Newbin, and Dane Belton. It was very poor safety play. I still say Tyler Newbin should be a linebacker. And I still say Drew Phillips has a lot to improve when the league completed almost 70%, almost 80% of their passes against him. Abdul Carter looks like a faster Kayvon, but the same techniques that got him pushed behind the quarterback. Does Carter have the same useless spin move at Kayvon and Leonard Williams? No. That's the other thing. Abdul Carter did what he did to make himself successful in college. But the problem is he did the same move over and over again. If he literally had a spin move, if he literally had...
You say I have a plethora of piñatas?
If he had a plethora of piñatas and had a spin move, I would be more impressed. But it's the same move over and over again because it's really his first year as a defensive end. He's O'Shane Ximenez. Oh, Shane, can you see? O'Shane Ximenez, 10.5 sacks, Old Dominion. Same thing, speed rusher, used the dip move, had 4.5 sacks his first rookie season, and then disappeared because the league figured him out right away. And we took him, in the 5th round? Stanley says, Tim, there's no way Sanders will be the best quarterback unless he's on a team with no wide receivers, gets no open or no offensive lineman or running back. You're right. I think the Giants organization and coaching staff sucks. I agree. Turtle says, I remember I got timed out here for saying Hunter is a pick 32 months of years ago. I got timed out for saying Milroe and Dart are both good options at 34. I don't expect an apology. Why would you get an apology? Why would you get an apology? Because Hunter does not fit for the Giants at 3. Still doesn't. And Jackson Dart has always been projected as a 2nd-round pick. Just idiots want to get him a 3rd round. And I've said for a million times before, Jalen Milroe, to me, after his pro day and after everything else that he's been proved on, actually may have moved into the bottom half of the 1st round. But okay. Luckily, you're not getting an apology. Bull rush shoulder dip won't work consistently on the next level. Ask Kayvon Tip. But it's not even a bull rush. That's the thing, Big Dog Status. It's not even a bull rush. He's just literally using pure speed. That's all he's using. He's not bull rushing anyone. All he's doing is just taking pure speed, coming out of the box against slower guys, and just getting around them. That's all he's doing. There's no bull rush. If he did a bull rush, I would be more impressed, but he's not big enough. He's Kayvon Thibodeau. He's Brian Burns. It makes 0 sense. Travis Hunter makes 0 sense. Best player available works if you are a good team. Best player available does not work when you have invested money and draft capital the last 2 seasons in the same position. Sliders got the ball. We're gonna have to do. I was thinking about it. I was thinking about it with James T. Brad. Well, Sliders in California though. We were gonna have to all get together and redo the volleyball scene. We're gonna now. I know I'm Viper, so I'm not in the scene. But maybe he comes to the beach and says hi. But we might have to We might have to reshoot the entire. We might have to do that. Zaya says Sanders' college career is better than DJ's pro career by far. What the fuck do pro careers by far? Yeah, I know. He's better. Sanders has shown, like I said, Sanders has shown a progression throughout his entire career. We've shown it. He's shown a progression going back to Jackson State. Shown a progression in high school. And please don't annoy me again, like I said, with the 52 sacks, because look there, 52 sacks was 2 years ago. But that's the thing, he takes too many sacks. Remember when he took 52 sacks? What you mean? Remember when he took 52 sacks 2 years ago behind a bad offensive line in Colorado? In the first rebuilding year of Colorado? Yeah, I do remember that. But then I remember last year when he took 42. Oh, my God. Let's see here. If Sanders or Hunter, we can't lose no matter what. Tim, what do you think of the Giants should play? What do you think? Who do you want the Giants to play week 1? Sister Mary of the Poor. And can we swap them out to try one of our home games? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because I sit there and see a young Tim and James drinking mimosas in the skybox. Kickoff an hour away against the Minnesota Vikings. The gleam of happiness in our eye on that beautiful sunny day. Waiting, we're in the stadium before anyone else, drinking mimosas, sitting in the suite, getting ready, having a good old time, thinking that we're gonna rock the shit out of Minnesota. Yeah, we saw that happen. We know what happened after that. We literally know what happened after that, because if you go to the end of the season, look how much weight James gained. This is the last game of the season. James is almost unrecognizable. That's how bad the entire year was. Playing with the boys. Let's see here. Where are we at here? James has hit that like button. We have 120 something people watching in one place, 100 something people watching in another place. Hit the like button. We're at 48 likes. Let's get to 60 likes. James OGR. Let's see. James OGR T Brad. I'm going to put the link in the chat here because I want to get your guys' opinions on this Shedeur Sanders thing. I am really curious to get the opinion. I think I need Lex Luthor to make sure. And some people are texting me saying, I want to come on. Well, when I'm cause I'm sassy. Cause I am sassy. I had to text the wife. All right, let's see here. Tim, show the jar of mayo again for me so Rachel can see it, please. I already did that. I'm behind on the chat. Let's see here. Playing with the boys. Oh, here we go. Massey with the big old super chat saying, when I saw the pro day clip of Shedeur Sanders discussion, couldn't wait for your take, Tim. Didn't Brady pat the ball before he's throwing Stafford too? Yes. Massey, you missed the first hour of the show. Yes. I've said it before. I could not think of one quarterback in the history of the NFL that ever patted the ball and won. I couldn't think of one. Couldn't think of one guy. The whole tuck rule was invented because of this guy patting the ball. He would have won 8 Super Bowls instead of 6. It's just an excuse. Cam Ward pats the ball. He's here. the most diabolical villain in the history of Marvel. Or maybe it's DC. I don't know comics. I don't know which one it is. Only one that could make Superman cry. The one, the only Lex Luthor.
What's going on, Tim?
Explain to me. First of all, did you see the Shedeur Sanders pro day?
Yeah, he did well. He did well.
He did what you thought he would do because it's a pro day. Outside of Teddy Bridgewater having the most god-awful pro day anyone's ever seen, you don't really screw up your pro day.
No, you don't. It's the short Olympics.
Right.
Ooh.
So I mean, but was there anything in his pro day that you sat there and said, this guy is not an NFL quarterback?
He pats the ball. No, I'm joking.
No, we're gonna talk about that.
No. Him patting the ball is no big deal. Aaron Rodgers pats the ball.
I was gonna say that too, but I don't like Aaron Rodgers.
I know you don't like Aaron Rodgers, but I mean,
I like Tom Brady. I like Tom Brady.
Prime Aaron Rodgers, I mean, was always the second or third best quarterback at the time because Tom Brady was playing.
Right. And people also forget Cam Ward pats the ball.
Yeah, he does.
But we don't want to talk about that. We don't want to talk about that. But why? And I see a lot of it. Like I said, I see a lot of it from Giant Nation on Twitter. And everyone talks about, like I said, now, the other big thing was before him patting the ball was the 52 sacks. 52 sacks. I kept hearing that. That was 2 years ago. And he actually threw the ball more a year later and only had 42 sacks. So why is the hate because of the fact that we don't think we're going to get him at 3 and we have to disparage him, that he's a bum and we don't want him anyways because we're probably not going to end up getting him? But then the question is, what happens if we're sitting at 3 and he's there?
Okay, so first off, you're 100% right. I hate to agree with you sometimes, but it happens.
Damn.
When you use logic, it's hard to disagree. Okay, that's first and foremost.
Well, what did I say that was logical? Because I like to know.
A lot. Anyways, for me, it's just Giants fans. There's a reason why we're considered the dumbest fan base. Not your chat.
I was going to say, rephrase that. Not
the chat.
Thank you.
But there's a reason why you see all the guys that disparage. You're like, oh, well, the team around won't be good enough. They find an excuse without being completely disparaged. Oh, the team around him won't be good enough. Oh,
wasn't good enough in Colorado.
Or where he took too many sacks. Oh, well, he's not that angry, even though he completed 70% of his passes. So the reason is because they all want Arch Manning. That really is it.
Do you think that's, because we know nothing about Arch Manning. We know nothing about Arch Manning besides the fact that he played in 3 games last year? Chris Sims, Major Applewhite. Do I have to keep bringing up that conversation?
It's because they just want to wait. They just don't like the thought of Shedeur Sanders, and it's for numerous amounts of reasons. Even the most minute reason, they don't want Shedeur. They see him, and honestly, I don't want us to draft Shedeur. Not because I don't like Shedeur, it's because I want to see him succeed, and I don't feel he'll succeed here. Not with this coach, not with this coaching staff, not with the GM that would draft him, and we all know that Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen will be fired regardless of who they draft at 3.
Right.
And so next year, knowing how John Mara thinks, we begged so many years ago for Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll, or guys outside the organization, and we got exactly what we wanted. There's a guy who's been here for 25 years that I think John Mara is going to anoint as the GM next year, and that is Mr. Kevin Abrams. That is my prediction. And do you really want Kevin?
I don't like that. Don't like that. Sorry. Nope. Not putting that in the ether. Nope. Not doing it. Not doing it. Take it back. Take it back right now. Take it back.
Oh, I got it to James, so you're right. I'll take it back.
Okay. Thank you. Nope. Don't like that. No, we're not having that. Not doing it. I can see it though.
Yeah. As long as you can see it, I'm happy. Even
I
get
could
it.
I could see it from the perspective of them saying, well, we went outside the organization. A lot of times with the Giants, going back for years, we always followed this lineage that you may not have still been on the franchise, but you had a connection to the organization. We went outside the organization and we went, 9-7-1, 2-5 the last half of that year, 6-10, and then 3-14, and then 2-15. I could see that. As sad as that sounds, I could actually see that.
I mean, let's face it, when Shedeur comes here, he won't be coming into a good situation. And most rookie quarterbacks are not. I just see them trying to throw him out there and be like, okay, well, here, because he is going to flash. And well, here we have potential, keep us here, John. Look at, we changed stuff. Look at, we drafted Shedeur. And I want to see the kid succeed. And I believe there's teams before us and teams behind us where he can succeed.
Now, the thing is, a lot of scouts and a lot of fans harping on this one too, that he was at the combine and he said that he could be a game changer for an organization, that he could turn an organization around, that he has that ability, has that confidence in himself. That's why people said he has an air of cockiness. He did it at Jackson State. He did it at Colorado. Why couldn't he do it in the pros? And why is that such a bad thing to say?
I mean, I like that. I mean,
I liked it too. Actually,
you need some sort of air of confidence to you. Any player out there, will tell you. And I'll even go to a different sport. A lot of people clown on what is considered the best American soccer player, Christian Pulisic, but he says, "I want to be the best player in the world," and people look at him and go, "Oh, you're not world class." Doesn't matter. You need to have that belief in you. Any athlete should have that belief in yourself. If you want to be a professional athlete, you need to have that belief in yourself. And if you don't, you won't succeed. It's as simple as that.
It's funny. I was thinking about it too. One of the players that had one of the quickest releases in all of football history, Dan Marino. I can think of numerous occasions where he patted the ball once before he zipped it out. Dan Marino. I'm sorry. I'm old, and I'm just thinking.
Who didn't love Dan Marino? Dan Marino was. I mean, I won't say he's Tom Brady because he doesn't have the winning lineage to go along with it, but he was Tom Brady before there was Tom Brady. Yeah. I mean, he was always thought of the best quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah,
ahead of Jim Kelly.
He would pat the ball once before it came out of his wrist. And he had, like I said, he had one of the quickest releases I've ever seen outside of Joe Namath, and I never got to see Joe Namath play, in person or live. But Joe Namath had one coming out of Alabama, had one of the fastest releases ever. But it's so I'm not saying he's Dan Marino. I'm not saying he's Tom Brady. Hell, I'm not saying he's Cam Ward. But it's almost like we're just finding a reason to hate.
Because people just don't. There's a lot of people just don't like the aspect of him coming here, and they're going to nitpick everything because honestly, and I hate saying this, the color of his skin. That's what it boils down to. We always have a tendency to nitpick black quarterbacks because we always think that they're not going to, they don't get you to a Super Bowl. They don't win you a Super Bowl. And it's complete BS. I look at it as if you can play, and I will draft you. I will go out on a limb and say, yes, I'd rather see Cam. I'd rather have Cam Ward because I view him as the better prospect. But it's 1A, 1B, so it makes no difference.
But people will say, well, you have two black quarterbacks on the team now. That you have Jameis Winston and you have Russell Wilson. That is the first thing people will say in reference to that logic. That is not the logical opinion because you have now. First of all, we've showed it before. Russell Wilson to me. Let's just be honest. Let's be honest here. But and this is one of the first divisions that you're starting. That we have had every starting quarterback in the entire division who's black. From Washington to Dallas to Philadelphia now to us. So some people say, well, that's not that can't be it. That cannot be the rationale.
Yeah, well, I hate to say it is. I mean that's what it boils down to. When you're looking for any excuse to throw somebody to the wayside, it's because you just don't like the person. It's simple as
This is a great. And I want to thank Charles Barkley for being a OG member for 1 month now. Also, Asmi says I'm old enough to remember Jimmy the Greek views on black quarterbacks. A lot of the old white people still feel the same way. I actually remember a lot of the Jimmy the Greek. Jimmy the Greek got in a lot of trouble. Same with Howard Cosell when he used the term monkey. Used the term little monkey on Monday Night Football, and he basically got himself fired. Though, even though he used the same phrase on a white guy like 2 weeks prior to that. But we're not going to get into the whole racial aspect, because if we did, I have to bring this guy in as well, because we got the teamwork to make the dream work. Let's go.
What's up, my friend?
What's up, brothers?
Rocking the
Lex, what up?
Rocking the Mets pride here, bringing it in strong. Oh, not only do I have one Planet Cup, I got two. Oh, and I have cookies. Oh, no, pancakes. I got pancakes. I must have been good. I don't know what.
Are they chocolate?
Thank you, my love. No, they're not chocolate chip.
They're cookies.
Oh, no, they are chocolate chip. They got chocolate chips in them. You can't.
Oh, you got chocolate chip pancakes?
I got chocolate chip pancakes. These are sourdough chocolate chip pancakes.
Ew.
We grow our own sourdough here.
The sourdough is good, people.
We grow it. It's literally like the third or fourth or fifth family member. The sourdough, the jar of sourdough that has its own little bucket or its own little bed that you have to feed it and watch it grow. That's in the middle of my front room. But I will say the sourdough pancakes are awesome. James William dropping into his house, talking about the Shedeur Sanders hate. How Shedeur Sanders is, like as the video said, to me, Shedeur Sanders is for real. But I also think so is the hate. And I'm just trying to piece together or puzzle together the aspect, James, of and I don't think it's a racial component. I don't want to
part of it
going down. I don't think it's totally a racial component, but
it's part, not fully.
I just see so many Giant fans that watch this pro day on Twitter and we're like, well, he threw the ball too high. He threw it 55 yards on a dime and dropped it over the shoulder with the guy in motion. The guy hit him in stride, but it was too high. It reminds me of the scene in Major League when Clu Hayward hit that big home run off Rick Vaughn, and the one guy is going, "It's too high, it's too high," and the guy was like, "What do you mean it's too high?" He goes, "You mean it's too far, or it's too hard?" No, it was really high. That's what I literally keep thinking of. Explain it to us, James. Why eat a sourdough pancake?
I gotta be honest. It's hard to explain. OGR is much more dignified than me in the breakdowns. He said something really smart in the comments. I'm selfish. Excuse me. I want Sanders here just because I've watched Daniel Jones for 6 years. I feel like, no offense to the rest of y'all, but I feel like personally, God owes this to me. And
God owes me this.
I feel like he owes me this. But OGR did make a good point as far as if he comes here, there is going to be some struggle because we're not a fully ready-made team. And I think that's what some fans are going with as far as they believe a Carter or a Hunter will help this team win more games in the immediate versus worrying about down the line. But to me, I'm a big baseball guy. I love the Mets since I was a little kid. I loved the Mets before I even loved the Giants. And baseball, pitching is what's most important. Right. You can have murderers row up and down. If you don't get at least a couple good pitching games out of a series, you're going to lose the series. So I don't know what this thing is with football fans, where in football, the most important position is the quarterback. So I don't know when we started valuing DB/wide receivers, hybrids, gadgets, whatever, over the most important position. And that's just what it comes down to me. I understand people don't like his height. He's not as tall as Cam Ward.
He's 6'2".
Or his build. He's not as.
And here's the other thing. He actually is, which I find interesting. Shedeur Sanders has gained weight, as Cam Ward has lost weight.
Oh, okay. I haven't even paid attention to that. I'm sure, as
You've
we
been
get
watching
closer
baseball
to,
on the Knicks.
yes,
I think
yes,
we're what are we, one game away for 50 wins again?
yeah. Well, Brunson's supposed to come back tonight. We'll see.
No, fingers
But
crossed.
but the Sanders thing, I'm getting to the point where last week I came on here and I said, tell me the team in NFL history that drafted two wide receivers back to back in top 10 drafts, and then that team had success. Now, this week, I'm going to say what I just said with the baseball analogy, where if you have a chance to get a dominant pitcher, or maybe a pitcher you think could be dominant, versus a guy who's he's going to do the Aaron Judge, which one are you really going to take if you really want to win?
Well, pitching wins. That's what they always say. Pitching, you win with pitching in the Major League Baseball. Logan Ryan, like 3-4 days ago, was on the NFL Network with Bob Papa. I can't remember the show that Bob Papa does. And Logan Ryan says, and I said the same thing, and I think Logan Ryan stole it from me. And if I see him, I'm going to punch him in the back of the head. He said that you don't take a player at 3 if he's not going to be an impact player. Because Bob Papa was talking about taking Travis Hunter. He was talking about taking Abdul Carter. And Logan Ryan's kind of said the same thing. I said, well, where are you going to play him? And Bob Papa's like, well, we'll build packages for both of the players. And Logan Ryan succinctly put it, you can't draft a guy at 3 and only have him to use packages. He's got to be an impactful player who is going to make a difference on the field 24/7 instead of being on the play. If you have 50 defensive snaps or offensive snaps, only being on the field for 20. And when we look at Travis Hunter and we look at Abdul Carter to me, even more so, he's not going to play linebacker. He's going to have to fight for time with Kayvon Thibodeau and Brian Burns.
The Ghost Brothers.
Or you're going to figure out a way to put him at, a third, or you're going to rush him from the stand-up position. I don't know, but there's going to have to be packages for him because he's also not going to be a guy that's going to drop back into pass coverage. So what? He's going to play 30% of the plays, and the same thing with Travis Hunter. You just gave Paulson Adebo $54 million, 36 guaranteed. 2 years ago, you drafted Banks. Last year, you took Phillips. You still have Cordell Flott. Are you going to say that Banks is a failure and move him into the slot or the third corner position? Or are you going to drop him over where you just drafted Malik Neighbors? You just gave 36 to Darius Slayton. You still have Wan'Dale Robinson. And Wan'Dale's not going to be, Malik Neighbors is not going to be happy if his targets drop because you brought in a Travis Hunter, especially if you're not winning. So neither one of those are a position of need. So if you can't find an impactful player at 3 that's not a quarterback, long story short, what do you do? Well, where do you go?
Here's the thing. I will say this because I haven't said this yet. The obvious pick, the pick that should happen if
you say Mason Graham, you're going to get wonka.
No, I was never going to say Mason Graham. No, the obvious pick is Shedeur. I just don't see the Giants doing that. And I think Bob Papa, when he speaks, I think he gives away too much. I think he
does too.
I would be legit shocked if we draft Shedeur at 3, even if he's there. I'll be legit shocked.
Yeah.
But who do you take?
Unfortunately.
Then? Who do you take then? I've always said Travis Hunter.
Okay.
And the reason why is because you don't know Paulson's fully healthy from the femur. You can slowly work him in while you're starting Travis and put some packages to him on the offense. And if Malik Neighbors is going to get offended because his targets go down, does he really want to get killed by Russell Wilson?
Well, Malik Neighbors already complained last year that we were not targeting him enough in the first half of games. And I believe the next game we targeted him 11 times, like in the first quarter.
Didn't he have like the most targets by a rookie?
I was going to say his targets have to be in the top 3.
Listen, I'm just reporting shit that other people say. I didn't say it. Malik Neighbors complained.
I'm glad the dude wants the ball all the time. You should want the ball all the time. You're the best player.
He said the offense should run through him, and they were not targeting him enough early in games. This was after one of the multitudes of losses. And all of a sudden, I think it was the next game, the Giants targeted him it was almost to the fact you had to laugh because you knew the ball was going to Malik Neighbors. You hear the Bob Shepard go and going Jones to neighbors, 4 yards. You kept hearing that over again. You knew the next play was going to be. It's almost like okay, Malik Neighbors. It was almost like when Eli Manning used to force feed OBJ to the team's detriment.
Which he did at times.
So
he definitely did.
So yeah, I do think he'll get upset if we're not if his targets. I do think he's just that type of guy. He's that type of player. He already did it, and you're right. He had the most targets by a rookie, and I think he had the second or third most targets in the entire NFL, and he still complained that he wasn't being targeted enough.
I mean, that's just the selfish side of Malik Neighbors. He wants to win. He wants to be the guy that's going to help you win. That's great. But he's going to have to learn to kind of deal with the fact that, out there sometimes you are going to be, because you are going to be double team, it's going to free up somebody else. And you're going to be a gimmick out there for a little bit so we can, actually win games.
We are a coalition on this show. We really are. We are a coalition. We are a coalition of so many different, walks of life that we always have, that's just the way we are, because you know what? Slider has the ball. Call the ball, Slider.
Hey, what up?
What up?
Oh, Slider. I'm not even calling you Strider. Slider.
All right.
What did you see a lot of or any of the Shedeur Sanders Pro Day?
Yes, and it was pretty good. But those people who complain about patting the ball, all I can say is all the quarterbacks do that in the league. Even the top 3 quarterbacks pat the freaking ball. Josh Allen does it.
Josh Allen.
He does. I was going to say, White Vic definitely does it.
White Vic does it.
That's stupid. Yes, I know DJ pats the ball too many times and he gets killed, but quarterbacks.
The thing is, DJ pats the ball. There is a difference between patting the ball once and patting it 3-4 times like Daniel Jones used to do.
Yeah, that's not a good thing.
There is a huge difference for that. But we were talking about it. Why? I mean, it's these little things now that is coming out about Sanders, and like I said, a lot of it, because I only follow a lot of Giant fans on Twitter. A lot of it's Giant fans okay, well, he pats the ball. He took 52 sacks last year, even though he didn't. He's too arrogant. He's too cocky. Why is all of a sudden there's just so many or so much distance hate for this guy, and he hasn't done anything to the fan base, but for some reason we are trying to make it seem like, well, this guy's a bum, and if we take him, there's just he's just going to be a failure.
Nah, I don't know. That's just dumb people thinking. I can't explain it, but his interview was fine by me, but other people thought about, oh, he's arrogant because he can turn a franchise around because he believes himself. That's retarded. For other people to say, "Oh, he's arrogant."
Well, first of all, we have to correct that.
I'm sorry.
I'll say we can't say that. We're gonna get Tim canceled.
I'm sorry, Tim. I'm sorry, Tim.
We can't get canceled because let's be honest, because the retards are going to take offense to it. So we have to say that he was they're mentally incapacitated in reference to that. So.
Yeah, and you're right though. I mean, Jackson Dart said almost something like that. Oh, but he's going to be awesome. I'm like, what the hell?
I guess I'm just trying to figure it out. So, so if you don't go Shedeur at 3, what is your logical thought process? And I want to get this other guy on in a minute because he's going to be with us at the draft. What's going to be your logical next pick, or what is the pick for the Giants?
I mean, I'm going to regret saying Abdul Carter, so I'm starting to switch my mind because you are right. He does have one move over and over and over. I trade back, see what I can do.
I have no idea what you're talking about with the Abdul Carter only having one move, even though I don't know. I have 7 other clips that show the exact same move.
But
I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, all of his sacks are like shoulder dip,
Yep.
Get around him, shoulder dip, get around him. I'm like, I need a pass rusher that has at least some other moves than that. And Kayvon barely understands how to get around the guy.
Listen, let's not Kayvon Thibodeau, because Kayvon Thibodeau does have some moves. He's got some good moves, Kayvon Thibodeau. I
You mean
call
when he
this.
passes the
I call this.
quarterback?
I call this the Kayvon block. That's what I call this. The Kayvon block. Only the best quarterbacks in the league can block Kayvon Thibodeau like that.
Oh my God.
I wanna-
Yeah.
So we're gonna have 3 Ghost Brothers. That's what you're telling me.
We
We're gonna make it a triplet.
We're
Yeah,
gonna have
triplet
3
Ghost Brothers.
We're gonna have triple ghost. I gotta drop in another guy here who's gonna be with us on the 24th in the giant locker room. This is gonna be insanity at its best. It's Big Blue for life, coming in strong.
Woo!
Oh, are you ready for the draft?
I'm ready for the draft.
Are you ready for the draft? Are you ready to hang out with Big L and all of us? Oh, it's gonna be it's gonna be. It's gonna be.
I'm ready for the. I'm ready. I'm ready. How's it going, gentlemen?
What's up, brother?
Daniel? Man, everything's everything, man.
It's good. We got to get to Daniel saying super chat real quick here. How far is Jackson Dart and Shedeur Sanders apart? Can Jackson Dart be a pick at 3?
No.
No.
Move on. No.
No, we got to give Daniel because he's got Saint. He's got Saint in his name, so we have to give him the proper respect. No, Jackson Dart probably would have went 6th or 7th round last year. When there is a lack of something, such as outside of the top 2 quarterback Daniel prospects, if there's a lack of something, just because something's a little bit different or maybe a little bit better doesn't mean it's any good. And that's Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart probably would have been the 7th or 8th quarterback, if not an undrafted free agent last year. This year, he could potentially be the 3rd overall pick. But, and like I said, people knock the fact that, Jackson Dart, Shedeur Sanders, you got to take all those Jackson State stats and throw them away, even though you showed a progression because he played like Acorn State. He played Appalachian State. Well, some of those teams are better than Northern Georgia and Furman. So I mean, you got to look at it. You got to look at it that Jackson Dart to me cannot go.
You got to throw out the stats because all he did was play the black kids. Those don't count.
They don't count. But I gotta get to Big Blue for life here. Shedeur Sanders hate. It seems real, and like I said, I think the talent is real. But I more overly see now the hate being real because it's almost like. And it's coming from a lot of Giant fans that are just dissecting this kid to the point it's just like you're complaining. You want to bring up his 52 sacks, but you forget it was with a bad offensive line 2 years ago. You forget he only took 42 sacks and threw the ball more last year. Like I said, one person said he throws the ball too high. I love that one. That throw would have gone somewhere else in MetLife. It's too high. And then you have people that are like, well, he pats the ball, even though Tom Brady, Josh Allen, Cam Ward, Dan Marino, multitude of quarterbacks pat the ball, but he'll never be successful in the league because he pats the ball. Is it just Big Blue for life? Is it just because the hate is there because they know we can't get him, or is there an ulterior motive after having PTSD with Daniel Jones for 6 years that you just don't even want to take any quarterback because you're afraid they're going to fail?
I don't think it's an ulterior motive. I don't think it's PTSD. I just think that you have educated fans and you just have people that's going to throw in their random opinions. Every year you hear something about players that are supposed to go to having the draft. You always hear some type of critique, particularly so quarterbacks. I mean, what was the rhetoric last year about the 6 that came out in the first round? There's always something. I think Penix, he's hurt 2 ACLs. There was something with Drake May. He's going to need a year to sit. They had something to say about Bo Nix. He was too old. There's always something every year. I mean, it kind of balances it out. Once you're an educated fan, you kind of like block out the noise, man. And I've listened to tons and tons of different draft shows and different opinions, and everyone's going to have their opinion. Nobody never knows till these players get an opportunity to play, and either they step up to the plate or they don't. So I just think it's just like the noise, man, and you got to block it out. I think the front office is gonna draft Shedeur Sanders, and if Sanders is not there, then they'll go through a plan B. But I think they're going to draft Shedeur. That's just my personal opinion.
What's your plan B? What do you think their plan B? I know what our plan B was. What is your plan B?
Okay, so to be honest with you, you're probably not going to like this one. I think I said it before. We don't want Abdul Carter, right? So let's say Ward goes first, Sanders goes second, and we're sitting there at 3, and you have Abdul Carter available. You have Travis Hunter, and then you have who's the other kid, the D tackle, Mason Graham,
Mason
and
Graham.
okay, so I would go with the generational talent in that case, and I would go with Travis Hunter. I would not move back in the draft. I would take Travis Hunter, and then I would get my quarterback in the second round. And if he's available, I would go with Jalen Milroe in the second round. I've said this time and time again. That's the route I would go. But my first pick would be Shedeur. And the reason why I say Travis Hunter is because you got 2 opportunities for him to fail at a position, bro. And I don't think you taking him is going to affect Malik Neighbors. You have 2 guys in Cincinnati that just got paid 160. The other guy got paid 114. You have plenty of
But wait a minute. Watch this about Cincinnati. Who's their quarterback?
yeah.
Joe
But
Burrow.
so the point is
Joe
this.
Burrows, yeah.
Yeah, but the point is if we can't get our quarterback, I wouldn't draft Travis Hunter over Sanders. Now, if we can't get our quarterback, I go with Hunter. And it does. It's not saying that you think that Banks is a bust or a Debo. I kind of agree with what OGR said. You got a guy coming back from a fibula, man. That's a tough injury. You're gonna have Hunter step in until this guy shows that he can.
Here's the issue with the Paulson Adebo thing, and I brought this up since the moment we signed him.
Mhm.
He was not in the top 10 free agent corners for most teams because
Of the injury.
and most
Mhm.
teams, most people thought that he would get a 2-year $20 million deal, 10 million guaranteed or 15 million guaranteed, and basically an out in the second year because of the fact that he has not, it's not an injury. It's not an injury. A lot of players never came back, have not come back from this injury. But you're the Giants, though. You went against the entire grain and gave him 54-36 guaranteed like you think he's going to be healthy. And if that's the case, we cannot keep just redacting redundancy because Paulson Adebo may not be healthy for the start of the season and just go with Travis Hunter because like Logan Ryan said, you can't just bring a guy in for packages at 3. He's got to be an impact player. And if we are drafting redundancy like we did for Wandale for basically, we drafted Wandale because of Kadarius Toney, redundancy. We brought in Brian Burns because of the fact that we didn't have much going on with Kayvon Thibodeau, redundancy. We can't keep over drafting mistakes that we keep making either in vis-a-vis free agency or in the draft because that's not how you build a roster. We looked at the very first Joe Shane draft. Everyone's going
to be gone.
Everyone's going to be gone. Everyone potentially is going to be a bust. In the building block draft where we had 2 number 1s, 2 number 3s, 3 number 5s, and I forget how many number 6s had, but that was going to be our foundational pick. But now all we're doing is 3 years later, either bringing in free agents as their replacements or drafting new guys to replace the guys that were going to be the founding blocks of the team itself.
I would. My response would be this. In reference to overpaying players, you're a bad team. You're going to overpay, and Joe Shane is your GM, and you're going to overpay. He has a reputation by now for overpaying guys. You got to lower these guys into New York. And I remember you saying you got to sell them on the culture. Well, the culture right now was Joe Shane makes his personnel decisions based on overpaying players, and he doesn't value other qualities in the locker room. This is probably why he let guys like McKinney and Saquon walk. I strongly feel that, in my opinion, my humble opinion, that Hunter would be the pick if Shadeur's gone. I just think that you will have a 2 number 1 receivers if you go that route. And again, he can help out on defense if the DBs that you bought in free agency in the Debo is not ready. But I would primarily put a Hunter on offense.
Who in the chat, and we're going to show hands. This is going to be like grade school. Who in the chat think the Giants are going to go Travis Hunter? Raise your hand if you think they're going to go Travis Hunter.
Maybe.
Well, Big Blue, you're supposed to raise your hand.
No, I think he's going to go. I think we're going to go Sanders. If Sanders is not there, then yes.
Now,
Yes.
if Sanders is not there, who do you think? Who thinks the Giants are going to go? James, sorry, James, this isn't Jeopardy. This isn't Family Feud. I see James right now.
Oh no, it's gonna be Family Feud if Shedeur Sanders there. The Giants don't take him.
Who thinks that the
Oh,
Giants should take, if Sanders isn't there, should take Shedeur Sanders? Say everybody. I mean, like I said, I'm not saying Shedeur Sanders is not the pick at 3, but I'm like Logan Ryan says, and I'm gonna keep bringing him up because he is like, because evidently none of our opinions count. He's just a former Super Bowl champion, New England Patriot, former Giant. Said you can't draft a guy at 3 that you have to build packages for. The guy at 3 should be an impactful player that is helping changing your franchise around because you're picking him at 3. If that's the case, trade back and don't take best player available. Take someone that you're going to potentially need at a different position. Because, like I said, wide receiver room, yeah, well, you can always use another wide receiver room, but you also been bringing, to James's point, how many wide receivers were taken in the top 10 in 2 consecutive years in the draft? Couldn't think of any.
When you guys bring up all this, Tim, you're not wrong. But here's the thing. This is the one thing you've said about the Giants consistently for the last 3 years. You've said the Giants need depth. The Giants need depth. The Giants need depth. Because are you really comfortable with a CB room of Paulson Adebo, Banks, Phillips, Cordell Flott, name anyone else? Are you comfortable with that?
No. But here's the problem. I didn't give Paulson Adebo $54 million and 36 guaranteed. I didn't draft Tay Banks. I didn't draft Banks in the first round 2 years ago. I didn't take a 3rd round pick and put it into Drew Phillips and also get a secondary help, like also in the safety position with the 2nd pick. I didn't do these things. I didn't draft Cordell Flott.
The reason why I say Travis Hunter at 3 is because of this. I say because, one, it gives you the depth that it makes other guys expendable later down the road. It gives you depth and it helps build the team for the future GM. I am not making that pick based on what I think Joe Shane should do. I'm doing what's best for the Giants if Shedeur Sanders is not there. That's why I say Travis Hunter.
I say trade back.
I would trade back too, but I just don't think there is any team that's enamored. And I just think Joe Shane would just basically be giving Travis Hunter away. That's the problem. I don't think Joe Shane would get what he deserves.
Yeah, and he'll trade back. And then screw those picks up. I mean, geez.
Man, you can't screw picks 5 and 7.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Right.
People think of a genius, but you screw with 5 and 7. James, top 5 answers on the board. Who should the Giants take at 3? I'm going to give you another scenario. Let's just think for a second that you're sitting there at 3, James. Both quarterbacks are off the board. What is the Joe Shane pick, and what is the actual logical pick, or what should be like the actual football pick?
Don't let him trade out. Make him draft at 3.
Yeah.
No. The Shane pick is going to be Hunter, because Shane doesn't do anything outside the box. How many top 10, top 15 picks has he had? And no offense to the guys we've taken like Neighbors, but he just picks the guy that everybody says we're supposed to pick. Kayvon, Evan, even Neighbors, like, he never thinks outside the box. So Shane's pick is going to be Hunter. Me personally, I'm just going to keep throwing this into the ether. If you have the number 3 pick and the first 2 picks, stop it. I swear, I'm going to reach over OGR and tap you in the back of the head.
Jackson Dart.
If you have,
make it easy for you. Here's a story.
Tell you, it's going to be like Hollywood Squares. If you have the entire draft to pick from, I get it. Hunter, I'm not saying he's not going to be a good player. I don't know, but I just like to do my homework where if we could pick out of the whole field, why are we just talking about the same 2 guys? If we need depth, like OGR said, and Blues, you're right. We do need depth. So why are we just looking at the same 2 guys? Isn't it worth a gander to just look at some other players? Just look. So I'm gonna just look.
But who are you willing to pick there? Because
Hold on,
Yeah,
OG. Guess what?
who you
Hold on,
willing to
hold on, hold
pick?
on, fellas. Hold on, fellas. Guess what? No offense to any of us here. None of us are scouts.
Oh,
None of us are
Yeah.
GMs, right? It's not our job to figure that out. That's why Shane and the scouts get paid.
Watch
I
this.
guarantee you, there's going to
Raise
be
your
a kid
hand.
taking.
Wait. Well, first of all, since we're not in any of those things, we have to prove it that we're not a scout, we're not a GM. Who here eats Crustables?
Oh crap!
See, none of us can work in the NFL because none of us fucking eat Uncrustables. First of all, it's Uncrustables.
I got a question. James.
Go
So,
ahead.
with what type of haul do you think we would get for the third overall pick if we were going to bid
I
that?
think we would get a big haul. That's that.
Yeah.
Like I think we would get a big haul because if again, I'm not a scout. I'm not. All I hear is he's a generational talent. Generational talent. Okay, cool. If Hunter is first of all, if Hunter is that good, then Cleveland should be taking him at 2, and Sanders should be there for us at 3. But no Giants fans outside of this chat are thinking about that. If the
Yeah.
guy is such a generational talent, why is Cleveland thinking about taking the quarterback?
Here's going to be something that I was going to. Thank you, James, for bringing that up. I said the same thing. I think 2 weeks ago on a stream. If he is the generational talent, why isn't he going 1 overall? Why isn't he going? Why isn't he going to the Titans? And to James's point, if he doesn't go to Titans,
quarterback,
why is he going? Yeah,
Quarterback.
but he's a generational talent.
You will always take the quarterback over the generational talent if you think.
Lex. So I love you.
There we
go, baby. You stepped right in it.
I stepped in it because that's the obvious answer.
I know, but
Right.
I know. I'm just
the answer
messing with you,
Waiting for. That's the answer I was waiting for. That's why I wanted someone to step in. This is an interactive channel. I wanted someone to say because of the fact that you take the quarterback over a generational talent. So, I mean, if Joe Shane thinks Shedeur Sanders is the guy, move heaven and earth to get to 2. And I don't really think Cleveland is going to balk because I think to Cleveland, after the whole Deshaun Watson fiasco, doesn't want a Deion Sanders type presence in Cleveland.
They're not taking
out that we got picks and we still got the best player, generational talent ever in this draft or the last 3 drafts with Travis Hunter, and I got additional picks.
Yeah, here's the thing though. I think Cleveland's going to want next year's 1. And the reason why the Giants are such an attractive option before next year, and that why people always put that in there, is because everybody knows the Giants are going to be a terrible team next year, and everybody knows they're going to be in the top 5. If you are a team and you want the Giants to trade up, you must put the 1 in there. You're going to give.
Wait a minute. Here, but wait a minute. Watch this. If you're Cleveland and you think Arch Manning or someone else is coming out and you're going to be number 1, if you don't have a quarterback, wouldn't you automatically get next year's first round pick?
Yeah, and then I could probably
without having to take the Giants pick, because the Giants aren't going to give a 1 to go up 1 spot. Joe Shane's not.
No.
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 I was going to give Joe Shane credit by saying
Mara wouldn't let him do that. I'll give Mara that much credit. Mara wouldn't do that. Mara wouldn't let him do that. Trade next year's 1 to go up 1 spot?
No,
that would be
hell no.
Yeah.
I
If you
would
use the
sit down at
draft
3.
calculator, that wouldn't make any sense using the draft calculator.
Yeah, because draft calculators worked well in all NFL trades.
Hey, it worked well with Nick Trubisky.
Tim, I think it's all a smoke screen, Tim.
Okay.
I think the Giants are going with Shedeur. It was obvious they were going with Shedeur. Then they brought in 2 quarterbacks to make it not so obvious. But you know what? Dable was not at Ward's pro day because it's obvious Ward is going 1.
Ward's going 1, yeah.
But Dable was at Shedeur's pro day. The Giants had around, I believe, 11 to 12 personnel from the front office. You ain't bringing that in just for a DB/wide receiver. You bring that in for the quarterback.
Yeah, but
Dable was there.
You also do that because of the fact that there is a DB wide receiver there and a quarterback. Cleveland, I think Cleveland had 14 people there.
Yeah, they did. They had the owner there as well too.
That's right.
Yeah, I just think that it's a smokescreen. I think the Giants. I think if Cleveland does not go QB and they go with Carter or Hunter, the Giants are sprinting up there, man, with that pick for Shedeur. I think Shedeur is coming to New York.
That's right, Blue.
What happened?
I think he is.
I just been meaning to get this off my chest about Abdul Carter too. You know how you've shown that clip against Ohio State, the sack where he blows by number 74?
Mm-hmm.
That was number 74's first start at left tackle. And
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Then go and watch the rest of the reps Abdul Carter in Ohio State.
Yes.
Disappeared.
Yes.
I know. That's
Yes.
on the video. That's on the video tomorrow. But thanks for ruining it.
Yeah. Lex. Yeah.
Thanks for fucking up the video for tomorrow.
You just spoiled the short.
You
Damn it, Lex.
Just spoiled 60% of the short that I've been working on, and I don't work on anything. Greatly appreciated. Thank you.
I'm sorry.
It's what Lex does. Spoil the soup.
He gets moved to the bottom. That's where you sit. That's where you sit down. You're in the bottom now.
Started from the bottom now.
You gotta work your way up now. But yes, there is a lot about Abdul Carter that I don't like. And like I said, we've showed the clips, and this is, like I said, this is literally only, I have 7 total clips. And like I said, this is literally just, it's the same move over. It's literally the same move over and over again. It's not a swim move. It's not anything else. It is literally a shoulder dip, taking your arm on the inside of the tackle and kind of just scooting around the guy.
The one thing I will say about Abdul, he doesn't really. I think he's a better run stopper than both Kayvon and the other ghost.
You can't even remember his name.
You can't even think of the ghost name.
Who earns?
He's a better run stopper than that guy.
Because he shows more patience and he will hold the edge if asked. So
I don't see it. I think he's gonna.
Well, that ain't saying much. No offense, OGR, because those guys can't stop a little girl running with a football.
At the end of the day, I am a Penn State fan. There's a little bit biased. I want to see the kids succeed. That's it.
First of all, I have to have another PSA before we don't get canceled. We had Sliders PSA. James, you can't offend little girls by saying that.
What do you mean? Girls play football. Intermediate tag.
You can't offend the little girls by calling them Kayvon Thibodeau. That's just an offense.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, ladies. You're right. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. The 5-year-old little girls that play football.
I'm sorry. You're right. There's tougher girls out there than Ghost Man. I'm sorry.
The edge better.
Random thought, fellas. What if Genty ends up in Dallas?
We're screwed.
Exactly.
Well, they already got Smoking Joe.
We're screwed.
We ain't even talk about that.
You don't have to worry too much.
Put
Scott Allen's the head coach. You don't have to worry about
and now potentially Michael Gallup's coming back as well.
Guys, seriously, guys, because I need y'all to explain this to me. Slider, Big Boot, OGR, because I already talked to Tim about it. How in the hell did Dallas manage to get Joe Milton for nothing?
Right.
And we just it's like we even and we'll never know this, but did we even inquire about getting him?
No,
did we?
I'll answer that question for you. The answer is no.
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Thank you.
About Joe Milton because we were looking at him for a positional change next year. We hated him last year's draft.
No, they didn't think about getting Joe Milton because we're getting a Shedeur. Don't worry about it, James.
All right. Thank you.
I'm praying we land Shedeur. I'm really hoping that happens because we do need a quarterback.
Dallas
Yeah, me
has
too, man.
Joe Milton. God, I hate this team. It can't. You know how hard it is to be this inept? You have to practice at being this inept. Like you have to wake up in the morning and saying, "I'm not going to brush my teeth. I'm going to leave my wallet at home. I'm going to drop my phone in the street." You have to practice being this inept.
But
No,
James,
seriously.
we're talking about practice.
Your owner. That's it.
I want to get to the Talk with Zoe is in the chat as well. Make sure you follow Talk with Zoe. And this is kind of going to go towards OGR because you are the Penn State fan. Seller is going to be a damn dog, Greg. They're talking about quarterbacks. If Aller can work out his mechanics, he could be something special. Arch has a legendary last name, and Nico is looking good as well. I love next year's quarterback class. What do you think of the Penn State quarterback? You watch Penn State.
Name me one game watching Drew Aller where you said he took over the game.
I can't name one.
I could think of if you go to Jackson Dart, I could think of the Furman game.
Stop that.
Unfortunately, we're not talking about Jackson Dart. Drew Aller does not take over the game. Drew Aller is a combination of his parts. literally the USC game, Drew Aller was just throwing it up
To the tight
to
end.
Warren the whole time.
Wow.
The dude broke the record for most catches in a game by a tight end.
I watched that game. It was crazy. He was catching everything.
He literally just said, Warren, go get it. That's it. Fixing his mechanics. That dude is Christian Hackenberg light. Let's stop. I can't stand Drew Aller.
Christian Hattenberg light? Is that what you just said?
Yes.
You were dropping a Christian Hackenberg. Oh my God, you're dropping a Christian Hackenberg on us. Oh.
Isn't Aller going back to college?
Yeah, that's what he said.
Yeah, he is.
And
I think
that's
so.
why
Zoe
I'm
is
pissed,
talking
'cause
about
Bo
Oh, yeah, we'll get him next year.
was the better quarterback of the two. Bo Pribula can move in the pocket. Bo Pribula had a chance to improve on his game. And because Christian Hackenberg light, I won't even give him the respect of calling him his name, decided he was going to come back. Bo Pribula went into the portal. And our coach was like, you know what? I don't blame him, because they were always going to give it to Drew Aller. And I think Bo Pribula was the better prospect. And I think he'll prove that.
I have a question here, and this is again. I'm going to OGR. This is again for the Penn State fans. I keep thinking about Tyler Warren. You can't take a tight end at 3. We learned that with the Kyle Pitts fiasco. I said that years ago with Kyle Pitts. You can't take a tight end at 3, or even that high in the top 5. But Tyler Warren, even though you have Theo Johnson from last year, his running mate, I guess you want to say, Tyler Warren to me is something. There's a specialness about him in his ability to go after the ball. You talk about a kid had 104 receptions for over 1,200 yards, and I think like 8 touchdowns. I keep thinking if the Giants are not going to go quarterback or 3, don't have the availability of quarterback 3, and potentially you can grab a Milroe later. Because like I said, I'm all down. Like I said, I was telling you before, Big Blue, I'm down with Milroe. I mean, after watching his progression and watching how much effort and work he's putting in, I would take Milroe in the second round. But if you could go down to like maybe 10 or 11 OGR, maybe even 12. Would you go with it? Would you think that the Giants would be smart to take someone like a Tyler Warren, who is really going to probably help open up the outside of the field for someone like Malik Neighbors and give him more opportunities to catch the ball, and actually finally have a tight end that we haven't seen since Shockey?
I like it, but I'm going to answer your question with a question. What would it help Russell Wilson do, which everybody knocks Russell Wilson for not doing?
Being good.
But throwing over the middle of the field. That's the biggest knock. Russell Wilson is throwing.
Yeah, but to Russell's defense, he utilizes the tight end in the red zone. Though he does go over the middle of the red zone.
He does use the tight end in the red zone. But the question is this: we're not trying to build. If you're a general manager, and I kind of knew where you were going with this. If you were a general manager, you're not just building for the 2025 season. You're building for the longevity of the Giants to be good for the next 10 years, not just for one year with the quarterback, unless you are building a roster or a franchise this year to save your job.
To me, that it actually encompasses all that. If you draft Warren, you get a piece for the future. And then you actually improve the roster this year and you add another weapon to that offense.
It also opens up the running game.
Yeah, it also opens up the running game because Warren's not a bad blocker at all. Theo's not a bad blocker at all. I know I'd be excited about it, but I mean, also there is Penn State bias because I love Tyler Warren because he's an absolute dog.
So, question, actually 2-part question. Where would you comp Warren, and if you was to compare him to Brock Bowers? And this one is for Tim. Now, wouldn't that be drafting for redundancy because we just drafted Theo and then we drafted Bellinger? Probably 2 years prior to that.
Well, here's the thing. Bellinger to me is going to be gone next year, and I'll let OJR answer. Bellinger to me is going to be gone. Bellinger is a blocking tight end. He doesn't even do that well. Theo Johnson was not taken outside of the top 3 rounds. He was talking he was a 5th rounder. So if you take a look at the rosters in the NFL, how many 5th rounders actually make an NFL roster? It's not
Shannon
like
Sharp.
Shannon Sharp.
He's like,
Okay.
Yeah, Shannon
Joe
Sharp was like
Milton.
7th-round
Joe
pick or
Milton.
something like
yeah,
that.
he was down there.
Joe
I was
Milton.
gonna say Shannon Sharp. You know what? If Theo Johnson is Shannon Sharp, I will literally eat my Speedy Gonzalez moment. That's I mean, but you're not, like I said, because you need a tight end. I mean, literally Theo Johnson showed you nothing outside of a couple catches here and there, and Dane Bellinger hasn't shown. Dane Bellinger is a Caden Smith, but not as athletic, and which is really bad considering Caden Smith was not an athlete at all.
Smith, but not that athletic.
So
Damn.
OGR, the comparison of to Bowers. What do you compare those to?
I don't think I think Bowers
I
is
think
probably a little bit faster than Warren. Warren, I think, can jump higher. I think he's a little bit more athletic in that aspect. But for me, it's Travis Kelce. That's what I look at. Travis Kelce. I just see a guy that, and I think he could, if he becomes more of a polished route runner, because I think in college he, because he is such an athlete, I think he could be, if he become more polished route runner, he's going to be real dangerous because he has the confidence of Travis Kelce too, which I like.
do you see him going top 10?
He'll be in the thing because I think a lot of people discredit him because I don't know why. I don't know why, but I think some people just don't view him on the Brock Bauer mold, like where Brock Bauer was drafted. But I could see it because people ask, well, where's the other blue chip prospect? Because you can start going down the line. And I see Warren as a blue chip prospect. He's clearly the best tight end. He separated himself that way. So
I want to get to talk to Zoe's comments. Not to interrupt you, Joe, but Abdul Carter is going to be a beast. He's a freak athlete, so similar to Parsons. For me, Kayvon Thibodeau's disappointed. You can always trade him in a package. Talk with Zoe. There's going to be a short coming out tomorrow, which OGR Sports has already ruined. I just want to bring that up. There's going to be a short tomorrow, which has been totally fucked now. I've been literally the one time I work on something. You are literally Lex Luthor. The one time I work on something, you decide to take it and say, "This is what it's going to be. This is one of the kickers in the video." I'm so mad at you. I'm going to call you up when I'm done with this and punch you in the back of the head.
Put the kibosh on that one. Good job, Lex.
The kibosh on this. Now I don't even want to put the video out tomorrow.
Hey, you know what you do? You put a Tyler Warren hype video, trade back video. There you go. That's your short.
That's too much effort.
But Lex, we can't take Warren because you just said he's confident. Like Kelce borderlines on arrogant, and we don't like that here. So we can't take him.
we can.
Well,
You just
would
killed
also
it.
have to trade back, and let's face it, Joe Shane doesn't have brains. So
No, if I only had a brain. Jameis Winston had a better QBR than Russell Wilson last year. Just throwing that out there.
Yeah. He also had more interceptions.
yeah, but he eats W's. Come on now.
He eats W's and he eats his fingers, which is, I still love the fact in Tampa they call that one of the most disturbing pregame speeches they had ever seen.
that W speech was with Tampa? I thought it was with New Orleans when he was eating his fingers.
No. New Orleans, he was licking his fingers. And
he did that behind Drew Brees during the interview.
And rubbing the heads of the people on the sideline.
I was all the juice that was left over from the crab legs. That's what that was. It's a crab leg marinade left over on his fingers. Yeah.
Not enough butter to use his fingers.
Listen, I'm gonna put this disclaimer out. Only me and Big Blue and Brother Blue could say this, but you can't be a 6'6" black man, muscle bound, trying to steal crab legs out of your local store and think nobody's gonna see you.
Not a good look. Not a good look.
That's all I'm gonna say. Yeah, you're going to stand out.
Right.
You're going to stand out, which he did, which was very embarrassing.
But listen, I can't listen to his interviews, man. Like I feel like my IQ decreased by like 20% after listening to this guy. It's ridiculous. Like, and at this point now, it's like the media's kind of forcing it on us.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
And the other thing is, he still does the eating the W thing. He did it in Cleveland last year.
Are you
coming
serious?
out of
Oh
the tunnel.
man.
Anybody
Oh
remember that?
Jesus.
He does that.
No.
That's it. That's him. Like that's what he does.
Yeah, it comes across a little weird, man. I don't know, but hey, it is
Hey
what it is.
man,
Isn't he like, you know? Isn't he like become more religious, which is nothing wrong with, because living by a tenet is fine, but it's just to me like, you know, generally people who are more religious kind of like stay within the bounds that, you know, the religion preaches. So it's, to me, it's crazy.
OGR, his behavior is a little bizarre. It's kind of like giving me a little bit of remnants of when AB started to get off his rocker, man.
Yeah, well, I
You got to
think
pay attention to that, man. He might be suffering
you
from
do.
PTSD
no,
on the low, man.
no, CTE, absolutely. I think
It's
both.
CTE, yeah, CTE. Excuse me. Yeah, it's a little
Mm.
crazy, man. So that's something we need to pay attention to, bro.
No, I absolutely think, and
Because it's bizarre. It's like even the things that he says, just like, huh?
exactly. That's why I think AB's brain needs to be studied the minute he, you know, passes
Yeah.
on, because it's going to be a good example, because that's exactly what happened. I mean, his behavior is so erratic, and especially what he did when he last year at Tampa, where he walked off the field.
I lost my camera.
Oh, that's why I was like, where'd you go?
I don't.
It was
I
like,
don't
what
know.
happened to him?
I don't know what. I don't know what happened, but I lost the camera. I have no clue what fucking happened. I'm sitting there and I'm talking. And I'm like, why is nobody listening to me? This is my show.
Yeah, I was waiting for you. I'm like,
You
you
lost
haven't said
camera and
anything.
audio for a little bit.
Lex put the
Yeah, no.
kibosh on your camera too. Said, get out of here.
I was like, I'm getting a little upset right now with Lex Luthor. I'm getting a little upset.
By the way,
I'm not
you
gonna say
guys
anything.
give me far too much credit as an evil
Oh,
genius.
there we go. There
Right.
we go.
You're an
handsome-
evil
Welcome back.
genius. What do you be? You can fight
the handsome-
Superman with
the
your
handsome
brain.
The handsome fellow is back.
Gentlemen, I got to get ready to run, but
All
it's
right.
always a pleasure
No.
coming on the show. And
It's
Tim,
all
yes, draft party on the 24th.
Oh,
draft on the
before you go,
24th.
brother, before you go, do me a favor. Don't let him mention the word dart the whole night he's there until we pick. Please.
Got
He's
you.
been putting the dart into the ether.
I
If we
think
take Jackson
Nah,
Dart,
it's not going to happen, James. I got you.
I'm gonna be
Dart at
pissed
three.
like
I
how
Don't
we
got
forget
you.
it,
drafted
Jim.
Daniel
Dart at
Jones.
3.
I'm gonna need
at
a lot
yo,
of
nah.
bread.
If I'm gonna throw a chair on the stream with Dom if we take Dart at 3. I'm gonna
No,
lose it.
Dart's going to New Orleans. With that
Dart.
said, fellas, I'm out of here.
All right, my
All right,
friend. I
brother.
I
appreciate
think
you
he
coming
goes to
Peace.
on.
Steelers.
He's going. Yeah, there is some scuttlebutt, some talk about him going to Steelers. Listen, guys, I'm gonna drop everyone off except for James. So I want to talk to James for a minute, but I want to thank Slider from
Thanks,
coming
man.
in strong as always. I want to thank the evil OG.
Well, we know why I'm
also
getting dropped off.
Yeah. I'm not talking to you. I'm going to text you later, my friend.
All
I
right,
am not happy with you. I'm not happy with you being smart
All
smart.
right. Late,
with your
man.
football nuts. Slider, I want to appreciate you coming
All
on.
right, Slider.
We got the venerable OGR, but dude, as always, OGR, greatly appreciate you coming and stopping on by. It's always a fun, but I'm going to talk to my brother here for a second because I don't get to talk to him that much, just every day. James was there for the pizza incident from the other day.
Yeah, I know. I told you about my Chinese food incident.
And James is Chinese. Literally, I went to go pick up some pizzas from the pizza place, and I go in there, and it's under my wife's name, and there's this lady walking out with pizzas, and then I come in and say, I'm picking up for blank, and the guy goes, well, they just went out the door.
They just went out the door.
I'm like, well, that's not me. that's not me, and that's not my pizza. So there was a long story about that, but it's just another one of those days. I love this. He pats the ball. Low prospects fatigue this point. Marino, Rodgers pat the ball. I also think Brady did pat the ball. Brady would have won 8 Super Bowls instead of 6 if he didn't pat the ball. I'm not a Shedeur Sanders fan, but hate is getting crazy. Thank you. It's getting insane, James. Literally, the hate. I pointed out about an hour ago. Dan Marino patted the ball. Almost like on every single throw. Tom Brady won 6 Super Bowls patting the ball.
Not the
Cam
GOAT.
Ward pats the ball. I mean,
White Vic definitely does that.
White Vic,
it's my favorite player. He definitely does it.
Definitely passable. We have 100-something people still in the chat. Make sure we get to 75 likes before we get out of here. Also want to thank all the 100-something people that are still watching on that other social media platform. We just dropped off Instagram a little bit ago because you're only allowed to be on Instagram for an hour with the StreamYard. James, you got any final thoughts about this draft? About where we're headed or where we're going with this draft?
I'm just how many times can you pick in the top 10 until you actually start changing the team? Like we've had so many high picks, and then it's funny because you guys were talking, you OGR Blue, and I'm sitting here and Slider, when you're right, like we do need depth, we need to add pieces, right? But it's like, hasn't Shane been here enough to add the depth already?
But my thing about Shane is, though, yes, you need depth 100%. But the problem is if your starters are depth pieces on other teams, does it really help if you add depth to back up the depth that would probably not even start on another team?
It's reminding me of, like, I always joke with you about those old Knicks teams where we were signing people who they either should be not in the league or past their prime or on like you said, on a bench on somebody else's team. But they come here, and because we're so desperate, like, if we were a real franchise, we would be thinking about trading Kayvon Thibodeau before having to worry about paying him. Like, so that's what real teams do. They make the hard decisions.
Instead of having to pay $16.1 million next year.
Yes, you would try to get something for him while there's maybe still a little mystique about him, and maybe people think they can get something out of him, and maybe they can somewhere else. But if you were a real team, you would think about moving off of him because that guy's not going to help us. It's when you're a pass rusher and you can't really get to the quarterback and you can't stop the run.
Do you want to laugh?
Of course.
The 2021, that was only 4 years ago, right?
Right.
How many people or how many players from our 2021 draft are still on the Giants?
You mean like playing or just on the roster?
On the roster or playing. On the roster or playing. In the 2021 draft, 4 years ago.
I'd say 3.
None. Rodarius.
And I was just going off the top of the dome.
Here we go. Rodarius Williams, Gary Brightwell, Emerson Smith, Aaron Robinson, Azeez Ojulari, and Kadarius Toney.
Oh, Azeez, yeah, we just lost. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
In 2022, Joe Shane's first draft, he had 11 picks in the first 6 rounds because we didn't have a 7th round pick. He had 11 picks in that draft. Darren Beavers, gone.
Oh, God, that's right.
Marcus McKeithen, gone. DJ Davidson is really nothing. And he'll be going into year 3 then. Micah McFadden. Everyone loves Micah McFadden, but I see a guy that misses tackles ad nauseum and plays well enough, but they take him out now on coverage downs. Dane Belton. Never been a trailer on a touchdown pass that he couldn't be. Daniel Bellinger, Cordell Flott, Joshua Azuda, Wando Robinson, Evan the Bus Neal, and Kayvon, we should never even touch, picking up $16 million.
So basically, you're telling me that Papa Smurf is the most productive guy out of that class?
Is the most productive guy out of that class.
Wow.
And that is, if you take a look at it, that is the last, going up to the last 3 years draft. That is the last 18 picks. But then we have to go into 2023, the other building block Joe Shane draft. You ready? You had Javarius Owens gone.
God, I don't even remember him.
He was a safety. He was 254. Jordan Riley still hanging on the team, but he's nothing. Tay Banks, the darling from 2 years ago who couldn't cover a bed with a blanket. Mm-hmm. Eric the Gray, 2-yard ghost.
Eric the Gray.
Jalen Hyatt. And I love
who
because
can't
people
catch for some
I love
reason.
when people like are saying, "Well, Jalen Hyatt's going to be better with a better quarterback." Well, we actually got Jalen Hyatt to help the quarterback we had, but Jalen Hyatt can't get off the line, and he has a tendency of dropping the ball. I think he only had like a 41% catch ratio last year. The undersized center in JMS, who is in his rookie year, had the most penalties or most holding penalties by a center. And last year he gave up the most sacks by a starting center. And you got
Yeah,
Dante Banks, who people are saying, I don't think Dante Banks is a bust, but Dante Banks, who people are saying is a bust. That is your last 25 picks outside of the 2024 draft. There, you look at this from a perspective of where are the building blocks? Where are the guys that you're sitting there? Because even Banks is now a question mark. Where are the guys that you're sitting there saying, you know what? We got something special here. In the last three drafts leading up to, and everyone's talking about his 24 draft, but it doesn't mean that Tyrone Tracy's not going to be New Orleans Darkwa. It doesn't mean Theo Johnson isn't going to be an Aiden Robinson. It doesn't mean that Phillips isn't going to be an Aaron Robinson. It doesn't mean that Tyler Nubin to me should be a linebacker, not a safety. And Malik, out of the last 36 picks, you could say Malik Neighbors in the last 4 years is the one pick that you could say is a constant pick that could be a starter on any team in the NFL. If you take a look at our last 4 drafts, I keep telling people, tell me one guy outside of Banks who could be a starter on any team in the NFL. Or I should rephrase that, in a top 10 or 15 15 team that's a playoff team in the NFL outside of Banks. Not Banks, Malik Neighbors.
Yeah, none. And the crazy thing is, even with the Neighbors pick, we should have taken a quarterback.
Right. And still gotten a wide receiver.
Right. So even in taking him, it wasn't the right pick. Technically, if you're building the team right. You know what it is? I've noticed with a lot of our fans, they want to go the 49er route. Oh, by the way, I put in the chat, Trey Lance is on the Chargers. Yeah. As much of a bust as he is, the Chargers still picked him up for $6 million because that's how important quarterbacks are. But I digress.
Went 14 into 14 million
to a team that just drafted a kid in the top 5. So quarterbacks are pretty important. But this team, actually, if you look at his picks, because you just ran through them, how many picks did he spend on the secondary? That if they actually panned out, this whole Travis Hunter thing, you wouldn't hear so much about, we need a Hunter over Sanders. Because we shouldn't need it.
1, 2, 3. He has spent 4, 5 picks in the second. Since he's been here in 3 drafts, he spent 5 picks on the secondary.
5 picks on the secondary, and you just went out and got a free agent this year, and the kid from the Saints. So that's 6 guys you picked up for the secondary.
Oh, I'm sorry. 6 picks in 3 years. 6 picks. I'm sorry.
6 picks in 3 years on the secondary. Plus, you went out and signed a free agent last year. So that's 7 players you picked up for the secondary. Yet we're sitting here at the number 3 pick saying we need another player for the secondary.
To Anthony's question, my response was, if he's not there, even though he doesn't fit the team, the system, or anything else, I still take Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not that guy's girlfriend. I'm telling you right now, that guy, I'm not going to do that, but he's going to be a problem.
Talk about his girlfriend. We're not going to talk about his girlfriend.
Right. But that guy is not going to change life the way people think. And guess what? We're going to have to take him because I don't trust Joe trading down to what Blue was saying. And I don't trust him making picks. Like, you give him more pick. If your girlfriend or boyfriend sucks and you give them more rope, you know what they're going to do? Hang themselves and you. So giving him more picks is not the ideal. You want to actually minimize the picks he has, because when he has a narrow window, that's probably best. Would you give him the whole thing? There's like, go ahead, Shane, go crazy.
The problem is you need to minimize his picks, his free agency money, and also who he trades for. Those are the only things you need. You only need to stop Joe from drafting, trading, or free agency, and then he'll be the best general manager ever.
We haven't drafted a quarterback in 6 years. 6 years. Other teams draft quarterbacks that, they don't get the field and they let them go. Whatever. I just said Trey Lance drafted in the top 10. He's not even on the 49ers anymore. But We haven't even drafted a quarterback in 6 years, and people are talking about we need the DB. If Sanders is there at 3, I'm saying, and people, we need to take the DB. How? Tim just ran through the list. We've spent 6 picks on the secondary. We should not need a secondary at the 3. Now, if you want to take a guy later in the draft for depth, that's when you should be adding for depth, not at the number 3.
People forget, and they always say Davis Webb. People forget the last quarterback taken before Daniel Jones that the Giants took. If you take a look at 18 through now, the only quarterbacks we have taken are Daniel Jones and Kyle Lauletta.
Oh, Kyle.
The
Wow.
Richmond Spider. And that was a year after we took Davis Webb. We at one point in time took flyers on quarterbacks. We took the kid from Syracuse, the Ryan, what's his name? I can't remember.
Oh, yeah. I remember him.
We took him in 13, and I think we took him 4th or 5th round pick. I don't remember. And then we took the venerable Davis Webb in the 3rd round, and then we took the following year Kyle Lauletta in the 4th round. We stopped taking quarterbacks after Daniel Jones.
Yeah, because we thought we found
almost like 19 rolled around, and then even when you knew he was a bust in 2022, we didn't take quarterback. 2023, we didn't take quarterback. 2024, we may not take a quarterback, and we know now Daniel Jones isn't going to be on the roster. Thank you. I can never remember.
Nassib. Yeah.
I can never think of his name. People seem to forget I do this show off the cuff. So sometimes I can't remember.
You know what I remember? The only thing I remember about Nassib, it's either Nassib or Lauletta. One of them got like a speeding ticket or something. Like I remember reading something weird about him where he had like a traffic violation and he had like this incident with a cop in Jersey. And I was like, why am I reading about him on traffic violations instead of his play on the field?
Because everyone has a cop. Everyone has a story about a cop in Jersey. That's just the way it
My
rolls.
God.
That's just the way that's why you stay off the turnpike. You go from 16W to 10A. You don't want to be on there. You want. There's always a cop story. Everyone has at least one cop story. Asmi says, "Thanks for the stream, Tim." Thank you, James, as well. Tim and James. It boggles the mind that Giant fans are comparing Shedeur Sanders to Daniel Jones, but Sanders had a higher football IQ, ability to make the post and pre-read snaps, unlike Jones. This is what I'm saying, James, about the Sanders hate.
Yeah, it's bad.
This is, and like I said, it's worse on Twitter and like T-Brad was saying before, on Facebook. It's like you're making comparisons to things that aren't there. And I don't understand why. Because all Sanders has done since we've shown the statistics, all he's done since Jackson State is go up in competition and improve every single year. Every single year he got better. And like I said, everyone talks about 23. Everyone talks about 52 sacks, and they always say it's in 24. No, that was in 23 against a really bad offensive line. But the kid still almost completed 70% of his passes. And then with 47 more passes, he took less sacks last year, but still somehow almost had 1,000 yards more. It's called the fact that you have progressed throughout your entire career. And to your girl's favorite point, maybe this is what we're looking at.
She was laughing at that.
Maybe
smooth and creamy. That's wild.
Smooth and creamy. It's Jackson Dart. Maybe that's what
That's
we want.
wild.
That's me.
I think the fan base has forgotten. Like that's why I say I feel like, and I'm being selfish and facetious when I say this, because life, God, whatever you follow, they don't owe us anything because we're here already. But I feel like God owes me this because I had to watch Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm. Do you guys remember Jake Fromm and Mike Glennon?
Oh, I remember
Mike Glennon and Jake Fromm, and then we had Daniel Jones in the midst of that. That's what I had to watch.
Listen, Jake Fromm was the but I have to give Giant fans credit for this. Jake Fromm was the ultimate tease. Jake Fromm, they told you, everyone, that he took command of the huddle. That he got that play and he took command of the huddle. He got his guys to the lines quick. He was able to go through the defenses. He was able to call through the mic. He had this air of confidence about him that the team loved, that the guys around him loved. He got over there. He was calling, like I said, he was calling at 56 to Mike. He was calling audibles. He was setting the guys in where they needed to be. It just wasn't until they snapped the ball did they find out that he was not an NFL quarterback.
Nah,
Because
go ahead, go ahead.
no, but I mean that's why he was the ultimate tease, because he couldn't throw the ball 30 yards.
I don't know who we were playing. I just remember what hiked the ball. It was a little 10-yard out. He threw the ball 8 yards. The receiver was standing there and the ball died. And I'm like, you mean to tell me you watched this guy in practice?
I got to get
How
to the
many
super
points?
chat for John. I said, bro, I hear what you're saying, but you have forgot how many points their offense averaged last season. Travis isn't just a good corner. He's the number one wide receiver too. But here's the problem. And I appreciate the super chat, Don. Here's what I was trying to explain to this. Charles Woodson, two-way player in college, Heisman winner. What did they do to Charles Woodson when he came into the league? They made him a corner, because of the fact that it's more difficult in this league, especially to draft one, to find that lockdown corner. Because of the fact that outside of quarterback, probably the hardest position to learn as a rookie or to play in its entirety is the cornerback position. I mean, 1,000%. Yes, but he's not going to play both ways. Champ Bailey, I believe it was Georgia, played both ways. Came into the league. What did they do to him? Lockdown corner in Washington. You know, I mean, you have a Deion Sanders at times went, did both, try to go two ways. At certain times, they put him on offensive at Florida State back in the 80s. What did they do? Lockdown corner. He's not going to come here and reinvent the mold at 180 pounds and sit there and tackle 250-pound tight ends, or go up against someone like an A.J. Brown, and then all of a sudden get destroyed by guys that are coming up, in the secondary, these larger corners. He's not going to do that. He'll pick one position and maybe get 5 plays at the other side of the line. So you're going to have to pick and choose if you draft him where you're going to put him. And right now, like we've said before, you went out and drafted all these DBs. You gave Paulson Adebo $54 million. So is he going to be your CB2? Is CB3? You just took Malik Neighbors. And to James' point, how many teams in the top 5 have taken, or top 6 have taken wide receivers back-to-back years? And everyone brings up Chase. They want to bring up Jamar Chase and T. Higgins in Cincinnati, but they also have a guy in Joe Burrows. And let's be honest, T. Higgins did not get paid like Chase did. He didn't get paid like he did. He didn't get that. He didn't get that big contract. If Jamar Chase isn't there and T. Higgins is number one, T. Higgins is getting the money that Chase would have gotten. But they were smart, and he knew, T. Higgins, that he would get tagged twice in a row.
Yeah.
That Cincinnati wasn't going to let him go. We'll just fucking tag him. That was like someone also said when we talked about redundancy in the chat, that, well, the Eagles took Devontae Smith and then traded next year for A.J. Brown. They gave up the 18th overall pick for A.J. Brown in that draft. If someone told me that you could have, I could have Jerry Rice and Jonathan Taylor. Someone say to me, you could have A.J. Brown for the 18th overall pick, and I already know A.J. Brown's going to be a good player 5 to 7 years, and I'm going to take a shot at the 18th pick that I may find somebody, or I can go with the sure thing. I'm taking the 18th pick, and I'm taking A.J. Brown, 100% of the time. So yeah, he is a good player, but he's not going to play both ways.
And guess what? Big Don, and I know you know this, Don J, but if you really want to fix the points on your team or score more points, then you get the quarterback.
Right.
You get a quarterback. Because if you have a good quarterback, you're gonna move the ball more. It probably gives you a better chance to score more.
And then people talk about A.J. Brown again, because I see Truth Bear. A.J. Brown who was the quarterback? Jalen, I've been to 2 Super Bowls and won one. Hurts. And also, there's a difference between taking Devontae Smith and getting A.J. Brown. Who was the other? Watch this. Who was the other wide receiver that was on the team that year that you drafted Devontae Smith, and then the next year you went out and got A.J. Brown? Who was the other wide receiver for the Philadelphia Eagles? And that's the reason why you went out and got A.J. Brown.
Oh man.
It literally makes my fucking head hurt, man. It really does.
And Devontae nor T. Higgins were top 10 picks.
No.
They were not top 10 picks. So no team is spending top 10 is value. You're not spending 2 years in a row on wide receivers in the top 10.
I love Truthberry. He just doesn't fucking get it. There is the guy Jalen Rangor, whatever his name is, who was out of the league. He was the one flop pick that the Eagles had over the last 4 years. I mean, we've shown this chart ad nauseum. In 2020, he was the only flop out of the group.
And it's like when you look at that list, it's like, who cares? You're allowed one flop.
This is how you build a team. So actually, I didn't prove your. I mean, Truthberry, I didn't prove your point at all. You don't get it. You know what I get? You're not here. I get you're not here anymore. That's what I get because I can't deal with stupidity. I'm done dealing with stupidity, James, and that's a lot of things with Giant fans are. They're just.
Yeah, these next couple of weeks, you gotta like. I seen T-Brad's comment like, I guess we don't know football. T-Brad left that Black Ice left that comment. You know, yeah. I guess we just don't know football. It's like I've only been watching sports for 42, so I'll say a good 30 years I've been watching sports where I've actually been able to somewhat start to understand what's going on. 30 years.
I love Danny, though. Hold up. We got Russell, the game changer. I love sarcasm at its finest. But you know what, guys? I got to get out of here because I ran a half hour late. But we had a good chat. We had a lot of people on all the social media platforms. So I do want to thank everyone for coming in. I want to thank OGR. I want to thank Slider. I want to thank Big Blue for life. I want to thank also James Williams for hanging out. And as always, don't forget to like, subscribe, all that stuff. Have yourself a good weekend. Stay safe, and we're out of here. Peace, Giant fans.
Let's go, Mets. Peace.